We are live.
We are. We're live.
Yep.
We're rolling. Hello, hello. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in on this lovely evening, depending on where you're at. Some of the Midwest got a bunch of snow. And out here in Guam, it is currently about 75 degrees, and I think the humidity is about 150%. I stepped outside, and it is absolutely miserable. But here I am. I'm here with you guys, and we have
150%.
150%. The humidity is through the roof.
Mm.
Okay. But like I said, thanks for tuning in. And we have a guest with us tonight on the first All Things Fish live stream, Priscilla MK from Swiss Aquatics. How are you doing tonight, Priscilla?
Not too bad. I got home a little late because it is still snowy. A lot of people are driving crazy,
Okay.
and I was trying
Okay.
to make it safely.
Good. Good. Well, we're glad that you were able to make it here with us tonight, so we can chat a little bit. Where were you driving from? Where are you coming from?
Where I'm from, Colorado.
Colorado.
Fort
Okay.
Collins, Colorado.
All right. And I think I recognize a bunch of names in the chat. There's a couple new ones though. So for those of you who aren't aware, Priscilla runs Swiss Aquatics, and she also works at a local shop. So she has a bunch of experience throughout the hobby, both on the freshwater side and saltwater side. And it's a great pleasure to have her in the hobby with us, in the community, in the family with us here on YouTube. And we're able to pick her brains, and we get to enjoy some of her amazing artwork. And you have a chance tonight to get some of that artwork later on in the stream. We'll be giving away some artwork from Priscilla. And I dropped her link in the chat a minute ago, so you can go check that out. And I think she said that she's actually working on some new stuff, if I'm not mistaken.
I always work on new stuff when I have time, of course.
All right. Yeah, yeah. And I know just the other day I saw a new print pop up of a red Neocaridina shrimp. So I'm going to add that to my cart and have that on the way to my house hopefully soon here. Who is the man behind the mustache? That's the question. That's what we're here for. And that'll kind of be the point of tonight's stream is you guys are going to get to meet me a little bit. We'll talk to Priscilla some, and we're going to talk about just where we see things kind of moving. We might talk about some trends in the hobby a little bit, and we're going to talk fish. It's a lot about fish. So without further ado, we'll get started here, and I'm going to see if I can show you guys some stuff. So
since my computer is not working, I can't really see chat.
Okay, I'll kind of to keep up on the chat. Okay, Rico got his audio figured out. That's good. All right, but anyway, my name is Mike. I grew up as an Air Force brat, so I was originally born in Zweibrücken, Germany, which isn't too far from Luxembourg. It's north of Switzerland, so not too far from Priscilla's old stomping grounds. I lived there for a couple years though before we departed, and we went to the United States, back home to the wonderful state of South Dakota, which is not only home to me, but Mount Rushmore, not too far north from Priscilla. So if you've ever been to Mount Rushmore, which if you haven't, it's definitely worth the trip. It's beautiful. The Black Hills out there are awesome, not too far from the Rockies, but it's a beautiful area, especially in the fall. We do get some pretty colorful foliage. So I moved to South Dakota, and I kind of bounced around a little bit around the United States. Ended up, my dad retired from the Air Force in South Dakota there, and I went to high school. I later went to college at Black Hills State University, where I graduated with my degree in cellular biology and physiology with a minor in organic chemistry. So sometimes I can kind of nerd out on the lesser known discussed parts of our hobby, such as water chemistry and some of the actual physiology behind what we're doing with our fish. So I graduated college. I worked in a hospital for a little bit as a laboratory technician. From there, I did some animal vaccine design and production before I found myself signing up for the Air Force. So I joined the Air Force. I was a maintainer for a little while, so I turned wrenches on jets, and then I became a pilot, which leads me to where I'm at right now. If you guys have been following the channel at all, you'll know that I am in Guam, out here in the southwest portion of the Pacific, not far from the Philippines, not far from Japan. So the Aussie folks like Nadia and Blackie are about in the same time zone as myself right now. I'll be here for a couple more weeks before I fly back home to Iowa. I currently live in Iowa, just south of the border from South Dakota. And that's a little bit about the me side of things and how I got to where I'm at. Currently live in Iowa. My wife and I recently bought our first house. That's pretty exciting stuff. And with your first house comes your first fish room. So in a couple weeks here, and I'm trying to put out some teasers there, you guys get to see my fish room build. And we'll kind of get into that a little bit. I'm going to just take a second, skim the chat. I know Priscilla said yours wasn't quite working. Tom said he lived in South Dakota. Tom said he lived in South Dakota. Great area. Sandy Dowdy's with us. Hey, Sandy. Dragon Lair, welcome. Good evening. We're just kind of getting things started off here. You guys get to meet a little bit about me. Edgar Reyes. Hello. Hello. John McKenzie. I was happy when someone other than my daughters saw it.
There's all kinds of people in here.
There's a bunch. I was surprised. Rocco's in the house. Muppet929. Hello. Hello. Thanks. I appreciate you guys' support. I've been in the hobby for a long time. So I actually started in the hobby when I was 15. And I kind of just, my dad had a fish tank and it was nothing special. It was just a 29-gallon tank. But I decided that it seemed like it'd be pretty cool to get into playing with stuff like that. So I commandeered his tank. And this is the first fish tank that I didn't set it up, but I ran it. I took it from my dad. And I was 15, didn't really know much at the time. You know, YouTube wasn't as popular. Facebook wasn't a thing yet. And the internet was, your access to information existed a lot more of forums versus social media. So if you like, there were a few that I frequented. I still use planettank.net. Aquarium advice used to be a thing way back when. I'm not sure if many of you guys are familiar with those, but then, we'll continue with my journey through the hobby, and you guys will get to know how I got here. Hey, Bobby, thanks for showing up. Thanks for showing up. Appreciate you. So this is my first tank that I took over. My dad's 29-gallon tank. As you can see, it did run an under gravel filter. We had some those beautiful plastic plants, some of the resin decor, and it was driven with a MaxiJet 1200 power head. And then, oops. See if we can get through here.
Do you like under gravel filters?
Do I like under gravel filters? Yeah. They're okay. If you run an under gravel filter with if you reverse the flow, I think it would work great. However, let's see. Oops. Trying to switch windows here. I don't think if you run them as a downflow filter, I don't think they work particularly well. If you run it reverse flow using a power head and like a sponge pre-filter, you get all the benefits of that bacteria that are in the substrate. That substrate has a ton of surface area to colonize bacteria on, but you don't get the sludge, the muck, and the grime that builds up by running it the normal way.
Yeah, because at the store, we do, at 70% of our tanks do have still under gravel filters.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean they work great. They've worked just fine since the 70s, 60s, whenever they started on those, way before my time. They work fine. I just think there's a little extra maintenance, and if you don't stay on top of that maintenance, they could be problematic. So moving forward, I took over the tank, and then I decided that live plants would be pretty cool. So it kind of turned into this weird mix of fake plants and live plants for a while. And at the time, all I could get from my local shop was they had Amazon swords. They might have had some Java moss, and then they had, as you can see, some Anacris and some hornwort. And that was kind of the extent of the availability of plants that I had at the time. So we went with it, and that tank slowly developed, and it grew as I learned. And this is just using the standard, your T8 bulbs. There wasn't a whole lot of options for lighting back then. in 2005. And then things started happening. Learned that CO2 was a thing. So I actually ran 3 2-liter bottles of the DIY CO2. And so back then, there weren't like citric acid reactors and that stuff. It was just sugar and yeast. So I changed out 1 bottle a week, and I ran, if you look just to the left up here into that power head, you can see the air line running into the uptake tube that runs into that max jet, and it distributed CO2 throughout there. I was getting into some of the forums and found that people actually are willing to ship plants to you. So I was able to get access to some guppy grass, and there's some rotella in here. And this is actually some Crypt20 bronze down in the bottom. And I used a power compact, or compact fluorescent lights were available at the time. So I had a 65-watt compact fluorescent light, and I put some pearlweed or Hemianthus macranthomoides in the gravel, which took a while to get going. But anybody who says that you can't plant it in gravel is wrong, because I did it, and this was forever ago. So plants were coming along. I was kind of learning how to grow plants. Fish, as you can see, the livestock is kind of a mishmash. There were some bala sharks in there, some cherry barbs, sunset honey dwarf wormy. They were just there kind of for looks. I was learning about plants. And then I set up another planted tank. And here you can see it's a 10-gallon tank. It actually, the 10-gallon tanks that used to have the 2 screw-in bulbs work pretty well. The lights work just fine. It's a short tank, so you don't need a ton of light. And as you can see, I put some valves in there. And I tried to get some the Hemianthus macranthomoides to grow. It didn't grow too well, but I did have a pair of cribs in there, which would later spawn. Geek Boy says the fun of swapping out stinky bottles of alcohol. Yep, I don't miss that at all. And whenever I see people ask about running DIY CO2, I kind of cringe a little bit inside, because I remember how much work it took. Fishimon64, hello, thanks for tuning in. John Cruz, hello, hello. Patty's in the house. I missed Patty, but hello, Patty. Thanks for joining us tonight.
I never done the DIY CO2, so I don't know how it smells.
You're basically, it's fermentation is what it comes down to. So you get that kind of a stale alcohol smell. Sharon Miller had a 55-gallon many years ago with an underground filter and an over-the-back filter. Ran a diatom filter with water changes. It was awesome. Yeah, a variety of filters is great. Like I said, underground filters aren't bad. They're extremely useful if you're willing to do the associated maintenance required with them. So I had the 29, I had the 10-gallon tank, and I decided that I wanted to move on with my life and do something bigger. So I found a 75-gallon tank. My dad helped me build a stand. I was probably 16 at this time, so about a year into the hobby, and things were really going. And if you look, let's see, you can actually see down in this left corner my 3 2-liter bottles of CO2 that were the key to growing plants and the bane of my existence at the same time. Nowadays, there are some better DIY options like citric acid that yields much higher output. So these were the early days of the 75-gallon tank. As you can see, I was progressing in the hobby a little bit. Still had no idea what I was doing with livestock, but plants were coming along nicely. You can see some Limnophylla sessiflora in the back, as well as this great big nearleaf Java fern. There's some Java moss on some decor here. Still working with Crypt20 bronze. Crypt spiralis was grown up in the back. In this tank was 75 gallons. I ran a 216 watt 4-bulb T5 high output fixture. And this is when I kind of really stepped up my playing the game, and I went with a 10-pound CO2 setup. So this is 2006-ish time frame. At the time, I was able to buy a 10-pound CO2 tank with a regulator used for $100, and I still use it today. Haven't done any maintenance to it. So if you look around, you can find great deals on used equipment for folks that are looking to get into CO2 but afraid of the price tag. Be patient. Check the forums, check Facebook. Hey, Anthony, thanks for tuning in tonight, man. Especially like reef guys. They'll spend a lot of money on CO2 setups for calcium reactors, and then when they tear their tank down, they let their CO2 stuff go, usually fairly cheap. And then the 75 kind of evolved a little bit. Redid the scape. Plants were becoming a little bit more available. So you can see here, I'm starting to actually get into some colorful plants instead of just the greens. There's some Alteranthera, Renickii in the front. This is actually a Echinodurus goncalo down in the middle there. All sorts of other stems, mostly stems. Another look at that tank. Shortly after a trim, you can see this was Rotella Wallichii in the back right behind the Ludwigia Super Red, and it just grew super, super dense.
What did you do with your extra plants at that time when you were that young?
When I was that young, so this was, we're getting into the late 2000s by this point in time. But, I experimented with shipping them out. Back then, it seemed like there were a ton of people just giving plants away left and right to help people get into the planted hobby. It wasn't so much a market like you see now where you can sell plants. So, you post up and say, hey, cover shipping, and I'll bag some of this stuff up to you. So there was some trial and error of figuring out, well, do I put water in the bag? Do I not put water in the bag? Wrap them in paper towels? Don't wrap them in paper towels? So over the years, I've developed the methods that I use now that we'll get into towards the end of it. But I was able to successfully back then learn how to ship some of these and share them throughout the hobby. And that's what I tried to do. I try to propagate some of the more difficult species or more uncommon species so that more people have access to them. And you can kind of tell the timeline of this tank because you can see in the bottom left, there's some Bucephalandra starting to fill in. And back then that was not easy to find and nor was it cheap. This is some Limnophila aromatica. And as you can see, this is one of those plants, this plant, Persicaria, they'll grow real thick stems, and they are not afraid to break the top of the water and flower. Doesn't take a whole lot to make it happy. I was still running 4 T5 high output bulbs on this tank, still running the same fixture. I used a combination of some Geisman bulbs along with a couple other randoms that I just kind of looked at the spectrum, decided that I liked it. And on the topic of T5s, I enjoyed T5 lights. I saw the best growth, the best color rendition, I think, using T5s. But unfortunately, they're becoming a little harder to keep running financially with bulbs disappearing a little bit and more people using LEDs. So these days I'm working with LEDs. But like I said, started with T8s, moved into compact fluorescents, and then T5s, and nowadays I use LEDs. I never tried running metal halides on a planted tank. I did on a reef tank that we'll see in a little bit here. But I have not run metal halides on a planted tank yet.
We don't even sell fluorescent bulbs at the store anymore.
No, it's hard to find them, and you're gonna pay for them. If I could find a box of, I still have all my T5 fixtures, and if I find a couple cases of some Geisman bulbs cheap, I would probably snatch them up and throw them over my tanks that I have now. So planted tanks are kind of my thing, but I also enjoy breeding fish. So here you can see some half black pastel guppies shortly after I received them in the mail. And being in South Dakota, there's not a huge market for fish. Unfortunately, our local shops, this was when I was West River, so closer to Mount Rushmore, our local shops didn't have much luck once the chains and e-commerce started coming in, so all the local shops shut down. So you have limited availability. Fortunately, on the east side of South Dakota, it's a little bit bigger. There's some more shops there. There's a little bit more market, and I'm just going to check the chat. I think I missed a message.
I still can see chat on my phone, but then I have to fiddle around.
That's okay. Freshwater Connects probably get the pink out of this Limnophila too with higher lights like the Hippurioides. Yep. So obviously, and we'll get into that a little bit here. So drawing those colors, the extra colors, the oranges, the pinks, the reds, the purples out of planted tanks, or out of plants in your tank, like you can see in some of these, where you see like the reds and the AR or the oranges coming out of the Rotella, or the Rotella there. Highlight will drive that, and that's more or less a self-defense response. The plant will start producing anthocyanins and some other alternate pigments aside from green to try to defend itself from the higher energy and CO2 will definitely help with that. Get into fish. Like I said, I like to breed a lot of stuff. I've bred many strains of guppies over the years. I also had this stint, pardon the mess, where I decided that I wanted to try to breed crayfish. So this is actually a male and female, not safe for work version of 2 crayfish while they're spawning. And these guys, you got to keep a lid on the tank. I had to keep them separate and just introduce them occasionally to try to trigger a spawn. But as you can see here, they're doing their business. And now you can see the female, she'll carry all her eggs in her swimmerettes, and she'll fan those often until they hatch out. And as you can see here in this picture, we'll see if we can get in a little closer. Those are all shrimp that have hatched out, or not shrimp, crayfish that have hatched out, and they'll hang out on the swimmerettes as they develop. And then they'll venture off, forage a little bit, and then they'll come back to the female and jump back on the swimmerettes until they're old enough that she doesn't want them around anymore. This is a Laeticara species, which I think are definitely underrated in the hobby. So I kept this in my 75-gallon planted tank. I kept them for a few months. Unfortunately, it was about this time that I decided to get into the Air Force, and I had to leave for school for quite some time, so I tore my tanks down. Didn't get a chance to spawn these guys, but they're beautiful fish. I'd love to have them back someday. And this is the Araguaia variant. Pardon the, not a Latin guy, so pardon the slaughter of the pronunciation there. But I think you see Dorsagera a little more often. Pretty cool fish, though. And then I decided that I wanted to get salty. So this is my first saltwater tank. It is a 72-gallon bow front, lit by 2 250-watt metal halides. I got all the stuff used. Bulbs, metal halide bulbs at the time were pretty expensive. I was a broke kid right out of college, so I kind of used what I had available. And you can see there's a couple yellow tangs. There is a pair of orange clownfish, which I would later spawn, some firefish, some wrasses, a couple corals.
Metal halide lights are still really expensive.
It's just, I think now they're more expensive just because there's not a lot of companies stopped making them. I know like Ushio stopped making metal halides. And this is the female clownfish, wrasse, frog spawn coral, which I know a lot of people like the sticks, like your acroporas and stuff. I personally like soft corals. I think they're more entertaining to watch and see the flow that you get with them and the actual movement. This is a meteor shower, some pallies, again the firefish in front of an anemone that was behind it, some zoas, a little green clown goby. And if you ever want to set up a small saltwater tank, clown gobies are super entertaining. I enjoyed them. I think just the other day, Priscilla and I were talking about them. Priscilla, do you guys keep these at the shop at all?
Yeah, sometimes, but we usually have the yellow ones.
The yellow ones, okay. Yeah, the yellow ones are a little more common, I think. I shipped this one in. But you can, as far as I know, you can keep multiple different colors together in the same tank. They usually seem to get along pretty well.
The green ones get a little bit larger.
Okay.
Than the blue ones.
So then moved around a little bit for work, had to tear down the saltwater tank. And a few years ago, I set up what at the time was my largest tank, which is a 125. Sean mentioned frogfish. Frogfish are super cool. I don't know if I've seen them for sale at one shop, and that was down in Omaha, Nebraska. And I don't know the details on keeping them. They're pretty neat though.
They're not available too often. People don't really ask for it.
Not really. Yeah. It's one of those oddballs that would be super cool to have, but I think you're limited as to what you can keep in the tank with it. But they don't take up most of them don't take up a lot of space. Patty wants to see the beach. We'll get there. We'll get there.
She should enjoy your curtain.
So this is a 125. I actually purchased this 125 used when I was down in Arizona. I got the tank, the light, the Amazonia 2 filters for $300. So you can see I used this large piece of driftwood, put that out the tank. Things are starting to come together a little bit. And then since it's so dry in Arizona, I got these aeroid type plants from the local herpetology shop. And I have no idea what they are. Priscilla might recognize a couple of them. She's a little more into terrestrial plants than I am.
No, I don't really do air plants.
Okay. So I thought it'd be cool. I had this wood that was sticking up out of the tank, mounted them onto the driftwood. And then you can kind of see that the tank's coming along, some super red filling in there. Had some, I wasn't running CO2 on this tank for most of the time that it ran before I tore it down for the move. It's pretty cool to see the aeroid types flower. And I've heard, I think somebody was saying the other day in one of the streams we were talking about that once they flower, they die. So, but that tank ended up coming down shortly after these flowered. And I think the next picture here, you can see this one actually throw the flower opens up. That's kind of cool. And this was a 125. Like, as you can see, I had a fairly simple LED fixture over the top of it, mounted up pretty high, but I was still able to grow this Liliopsis brasiliensis and Glossostigma elatinoides. It was kind of a mixed carpet, so it's pretty cool. And Sean, I know you'll appreciate this. You probably see the shell in the picture there, but I did keep shell dwellers in this tank. I'm sure you think it's a crime because they're not on sand. They were in softer water, but they actually spawned in there. Tillandsia dragon layer. That's it. That sounds familiar. Thank you. Those plants were a couple of those plants were Tillandsia species. But anyway, yeah, I kept shell dwellers in the bottom of this 125. It was kind of a temporary thing. They ended up spawning in there. It was weird because I was running CO2. So I used escargot shells for the shellies, and because of the CO2 creating the carbonic acid, the shells would, disappear in a month or so. Here is it was sold to me as a ocelot sword. I'm not convinced. I've never seen one get this big. It looks more like maybe a red melon or something to me. But you can see the larger leaves are from the mother plant, and it sent a shoot out, and you can see the smaller plants that were near the surface, showing kind of that traditional immersed growth type look. Got some pretty good color out of it though.
I don't know, the nurseries here in the States, the ocelot sorts are fairly large. Like if you buy them from Florida.
Okay. Yeah. So, and then I also set up a 29-gallon biocube. I built some LEDs for it, and threw some different crypts in there. And I have a problem where I don't scape a lot of my tanks long term because I have collectoritis. So I like to get as many plants as I possibly can.
What brand of tank is that? You said it's a biocube?
This is a biocube. I actually had it set up as salt for a while, so you can see some leftover remnants of the coralline algae on the back. And we'll just kind of skim through these. You can see I add more and more species, hack some out, get some pretty decent color. And then in this tank, I also had some Anostomus beckfordi, the pencil fish, and those spawned in this tank. I never got any fry, but they would spawn pretty regularly. Some Ludwigia pantanal, which is probably, if you give it good light, you'll see some bright pinks and some bright reds out of it. And there you can see a top down, looks a little bit better. It's probably...
I never had that plant. That's such a nice plant.
Yeah, if you'd like some, I can probably help you out. I got a bunch of my tank down.
Sweet.
So it's just kind of the evolution of the biocube. Like I said, I hardcore collectoritis, so it eventually just gets overgrown, and there's species in there that get lost. Also keep shrimp. I've kept, I remember when red cherry shrimp were first available, as far as being easy to acquire in the early 2000s, and my how far things have come. So here's some kind of low grade crystal reds that I kept for a little bit. Again, more biocube action. And now my most recent venture, like I said, I bought my house. My wife and I finally bought a house together, which meant I got a fish room. So I'm working on a video right now that you guys will get to see. This is, or was, more or less an 8x10 closet turned into a small fish room. There are 8 of those acrylic tanks on the right that are about 15 or 16 gallons apiece. 3 40 breeders, and then on the left you can see 6 15s, and then some storage and some fry raising tanks. And this was a fairly small room, so I just used one of those little space heaters. Pretty simple. Again, you can see that rack. Eventually I plumbed this rack. I didn't plumb it for auto changes. I just plumbed it to drain it. I knew this room would be temporary, so I didn't go too crazy with it. Those tanks along the bottom, there's some shellies, some cories, a few different species of rainbows, some green water on top for fry, and then a couple little 2.5s and a 5 to grow some fry out.
How many square feet is your fish closet?
This was maybe, if I had to guess, I'd say about 80 square feet total. So since then, moved on, tore all that down. Like I said, I came on this work trip for 2 months, so I tore that down, and going to work on the next room would be about 12 by 18. So before I left, I was able to epoxy that, and then we got to move all the stands over, do some plumbing, do some electrical work in there. And that's where this channel kind of was inspired by. I was like, well, I'm building a fish room. It's time to join the community, show people what I can do, and get involved with you guys. And it's been a pleasure.
Are you on StreamYard with your phone, like the camera?
Yeah.
It froze.
Oh, it froze? Okay. All right.
Did I freeze or did you freeze?
I probably froze. I can't tell. I'm gonna try to skim through the chat here. Sorry, I just tried to give you guys kind of a brief breakdown of my experiences. You have a little bit of who I am, and we'll see. What are you drinking over there, Priscilla? Is that just tea or is that an actual beverage?
Apple juice.
Apple juice. Okay, we'll say apple juice.
It's adult apple juice.
Adult apple juice. Sorry, just kind of skimming the chat here, seeing what people are up to. Sean asked what species of shellies. I had multifasciatus in there, and when I set up the new room, the bigger room, I plan on, I'd like to get a group of Cunguinus. So I know they're available. Just got to get my hands on them. They're not cheap. Patty says her tanks look ridiculously small to you guys, she says. I just got a 180, and in my last video, you guys kind of got a peek at that, and we'll see where that one goes. There's a lot of different versions. You have a 125?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever seen your 125.
With my Fahaka puffer? Okay.
For some reason, I thought that tank was smaller.
Nope, it's 125.
Yeah, okay. No more moving, Patty. Yep, that's right. No more moving for a while. And that's why I'm able to set up kind of a little bit more of an official fish room now. The past 3-4 years, I've moved around a lot. I've lived anywhere from South Dakota, Texas, Arizona, Oklahoma, back to South Dakota. But we're in Iowa now. We're settled down. Finally bought a house. Finally get to really get back into things that I enjoy with the fish and have something a little more permanent. Dan's Fish. Dan is in the house. Dan from Dan's Fish and GetGills.com is in the house. What's up, man? Appreciate you tuning in. Tuesdays will never be the same. We'll see. We've kind of just trying Tuesdays out. We'll see how they work. Hopefully they work well for everybody.
It's kind of late for Dan. What you doing up still?
It's only what is it? It's 8:30 for Dan.
I know it's 8:30 here,
right?
Too, but it feels like it's later.
All right.
And those betas I got from you, Dan, they're doing fantastic.
So I dropped Dan's link in the chat there. It's just dansfish.com. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Dan's got this system set up, right? And he probably has the best system I've seen for acquiring and selling fish. It works really well. Super impressive. He details everything. I like his business model. I like the way he deals with fish. You might not find a better guy to buy fish from. So check him out and check out Get Gills. He kind of runs that on the side as well. Muppet commented, how is this all so well documented with pictures? I can never put my life together like this. With the advent of cell phones makes it easier. You can just take a picture of your pocket. I probably have, I've got an external hard drive that I try to keep most of my media type stuff on. And I have a stupid number of pictures of fish tanks. And some of them look like they were taken with a potato. But it's still, just take something quick to remember it by, show off to your friends later. Definitely like this fish build. I'm actually going to do videos instead of just pictures. And it should be fun. It should be fun. And I hope that I'm going to learn a lot along the way. You're going to learn a lot along the way, I hope. And maybe I can inspire you guys to build your own room or do something different.
You're still frozen, by the way. How far are you from Dan's Fish?
So I am probably a 12-hour drive from Dan's Fish.
Oh, it's that far?
Yeah, it's quite a trek.
Do you use an Android or an iPhone?
Android. I'm one of those people.
Just minimize it and pull it back up.
Orange Cones. Hey, Orange Cones. Maria Z. Hello. Thanks for tuning in tonight.
Why is he just frozen from me?
I don't see that I'm frozen. I've got the stream up on my laptop, and I'm not frozen there. Sean says he has a hookup for Kung Venus. If you need to know anything shell dweller related, like anything at all, no matter what your question is, if you talk to Sean, he's been working on this fish shed, and I went through and watched those videos the other day, and that fish shed is something to be jealous of. And that dude knows his stuff when it comes to shell dwellers. Don't hesitate to ask him a question. Priscilla, Dan asked you if you ended up with both sexes of the beta 4 shy.
I think so. I think I got 2 males, 1 female. So perfect, I hope.
Yeah, that would be great. I think that's a pretty appropriate ratio for. I don't breed wild bettas. I had some betta rubra, but I don't know a whole lot about them.
Yeah, they're mouth breeders, and the male holds the eggs till the fry is free swimming, and often it's the female still has eggs after the male has a mouthful, and then she wants to breed again, but he won't because he already has eggs. So that's why it's good to have another male, kind of like with plecos having a reverse trio.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I had 2 males, 2 females when I had the betta rubra, and they might be the jumpiest fish I've seen because I lost one of the females right away. She found a 1/4 inch hole, and that was all it took for her to get out of there.
Yep, wild ones are jumpers for sure.
I've noticed, and I'm sure if they're anything like killifish, the more you spend on it, the more likely it is to jump out of the tank. So that was a lesson for me, was to keep a tight lid on those things because they will get away from you real quick.
I sent a pair to Hawaii to Jesse, and I think it was like an hour after him putting it in the tank, the male jumped out.
An hour?
Yeah.
Was he right there to see it, or did he lose it?
I told him, I was like, make sure there is a lid on there. He's like, yeah, there's a lid. And then an hour later, he's like, I can't find the male.
Yeah.
And he never found him again, I think.
That's unfortunate. Orange Cones said, my hatchet fish sound like popcorn popping when they hit the glass lid at feeding time. Yeah, I've never kept hatchets. I think it's actually a really cool fish that isn't kept often enough. I don't know. I've never set one up with hatchet fish. Needs to get some though. Jameis, hello from Australia. Hello. We're not too far off from time right now, so hope you're having a great afternoon and some better weather right now. It's pretty muggy here. A little bit of rain off and on. Kira Corey Adorable.
What time is it in Guam right now?
In Guam right now, it is 1:30 in the afternoon. So I had some lunch real quick before I jumped on here to chat with you guys. And this afternoon, I might go swim around at the beach, check out some corals. And that's one thing that being in Guam, there is some cool stuff to see in the water. And I've got some footage that I'm working on, some videos for you guys, so you can kind of get a little better idea of of what Guam looks like.
I drove through a blizzard.
A blizzard?
No, not a blizzard, just like a couple inches. But it was snowing like all morning, and then it stopped, and then it all of a sudden started raining. And as soon as the sun went down, the temperature dropped to 19 degrees. So
19.
everything's ice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's some things that I found while I was out in Guam. This is I think it's a Maxima clam.
What color is it?
What color? There was, I've seen a few different colors, but this was just an empty shell. And fortunately it was empty so that I could, take it out of the water and take a look at it. Coconut crabs like to wander all around the island, especially near golf courses. So some big old coconut crabs here. This kind of view of downtown Guam. This is kind of the hotel tourist area. This is a pool, and it's saltwater, but it's because of the rocks that you can see there. It's completely blocked off from all the current. So you'll actually there's fish that cruise around all over in this pool here, and it was pretty cool to see because 100 feet away there were some pretty gnarly oceans crashing down. But this pool was dead calm. Super neat place. Maria said snow and sleet on and off here today. Well, that sounds a lot like where Priscilla's at. But here in Guam, it is absolutely gorgeous. This is some of the rocky coastline that you can see. Beautiful flowers here. I'm not a botanist by any means. I'll deal with aquatic plants all day. I don't know anything about terrestrial plants. But there's some, because of the tropical area, there's tons of cool flowers here.
Can you ship stuff from there? Are you allowed to?
If you do the right customs paperwork. So some more cool shells that I found. But somebody has to see the beach, so there's a little teaser of what's out here. Orange Cone said, when I kept saltwater fish, I had a tang that used that clam shell for a napping place. That would be pretty cool. That's what I feel like. And maybe you see this a little bit more working in the shop, Priscilla. Saltwater fish just tend to have a little more personality to them in general, not all the time.
Depends on the type of fish. I mean, pufferfish do a lot, and angelfish do a lot too. And like tangs are just scared of everything.
Yeah. So I actually had Rico's bummed out because there weren't any bikinis in the pictures. If you want one, Rico, I'll slip one into your inbox of me in a bright yellow banana hammock later. Dragon Lair is all about these terrestrial plant names. I don't even know how to pronounce those. Frangipani. It's a flower. It's a cool flower. Rico's not picky. All right, coming your way, Rico. By the way, caught your stream earlier. Appreciate you. Those interviews that you do, or it's kind of a one-on-one, more personal thing, are pretty awesome, and I appreciate it. It's nice to get to know everybody. And that's one of the reasons that I decided that I wanted to jump on YouTube a little bit and start making content, was to meet some of you guys and just be part of the fish family. Obviously, I've been involved in the fish community for, like I said, 15 years, going to swap meets and some of the smaller events. But now I'm here with you guys. I feel like, one thing about the community is you welcome people with open arms, and I can't thank you guys enough for the support.
How many subscribers do you have now?
I actually this morning saw 235. So we're getting there. And we hit 200. So we're getting to the point where we're gonna give some of Priscilla's art away. I think in about 5 minutes. So we'll kind of go on for another 5 minutes here, and then we'll work on the giveaway. And you guys get to win some of Priscilla's art from SwissAquatics.com.
What are you giving away? Like something
what
specific?
Am I giving away?
Or just whatever?
Something specific. It'll be a print of the user's choice. So I'll work with them, and I'll work with you, and we'll see what they want, and I'll make sure they get taken care of. If you don't mind shipping it out.
Oh yeah, I'll ship it out.
Thanks a ton.
I mean, I ship a lot of stuff out anyway, but
Have you noticed any delays lately? Does it seem like the post office is getting any better or not so much?
I think it's starting to pick up, going back to normal. But the bad news is I think my laptop just died.
Uh-oh.
Died.
So now what?
Means I can't print any shipping labels. I'll figure it out somewhere.
Priscilla, Sean asked, did you get a chance to move the shells around yet?
Nope.
Nope. All right. And just, we got 26 people in here. Thanks a ton. I don't know how we ended up with 26 watching and 28 likes, but I appreciate it. I appreciate the love, appreciate the support. And as far as the live streams go, we'll try Tuesday nights at 10 Eastern for a couple weeks, I think. We're going to see how that goes. If it's the 26 of us, that's great. Love you guys. If more people want to show up, they're more than welcome to. And from here on out, after this initial one where we just kind of meet each other a little bit, and you guys get to know a little bit more about me, we're going to press. We'll be probably see some more informational stuff, especially once I get back home and I have access to my tanks, and maybe I'll chat with you guys while I work on the fish room as we build it up. So I think we'll talk. You know, I've got a soft spot for plants. I know Priscilla's big into plants. We'll talk about a lot about plants, but we're also going to talk about fish. We're going to be breeding fish, how to keep fish. We'll do some species stuff. Maybe we'll just talk about certain types of species sometimes. But the point of these streams is to do kind of a Q&A thing where myself and Priscilla or whoever else I have on, we'll talk. We'll give our opinion. We'll give you guys what we know, and you guys ask questions. We're here to help. Some of the streams are a little more, entertainment factor, but here to try to be entertaining. Like I said, apparently I'm distributing pictures after this, but it'll be informational. So it'll be something. Hopefully, it's some easy listening. If you guys want to sit down and chat, I'd love the interaction. Like I said, love communicating with you guys. If you guys want to turn me on in the background while you do water changes or make dinner, that's great. I appreciate you guys being here, and appreciate Priscilla. Thanks for taking the time. Thanks for stepping up to help me out here. And it's only going to get better from here. Yeah, it's a pleasure. Fortunately, like I said, the Midwest got a little bit of snow and some sleet, I think, in many areas. So I was worried Priscilla might not be able to make it tonight because her drive home took a little bit longer. But we are lucky to have her.
I did a few wheelies on my way home, so it was fun.
Who did you?
Oh, no, not wheelies. What do you call it when you spin the car?
Like a donut?
Yeah, donut.
Dan wants to know what the orange and yellow fish in the tank behind me is. Oh, wait, it's Tuesday, not Wednesday. Dan, I think maybe I'll either have to get some from you. So I tell you what, next time you get some in, Dan, let me know. Hold on to about 6 for me, and we'll see if we can just start distributing those dang things to everybody's tanks so that everybody can ask in more streams.
I cannot. I'm sure you.
What's that, Priscilla?
I still cannot see you. You're frozen on my end.
No, I think that's a you thing because everybody else said it's good. My laptop looks good. My phone looks good.
Let me refresh this.
Dan's making those golden denison barbs famous, and Dan, if you could get more of the if you had an unlimited supply of those, I bet you'd constantly be shipping them out every week. Those are some cool fish. And yeah, Sean, I'm not sure. I think it's just a Priscilla thing. We'll see when she gets back. And once she gets back, we'll do a little giveaway. See if we can get her back in the stream here.
I broke it.
Welcome back.
You're not frozen anymore.
I think it was just on your side.
Yeah, it's my phone or something.
You were the only one. So you have to. Maybe we need to get a little laptop fund going for Priscilla.
Yeah, if my laptop's done for, that's not good.
Uh-oh, that's trouble. But what you guys can do is you can check out SwissAquatics.com, get some of her artwork, support her, show her a little love, and it's a good conversation piece to put in your fish room, and it's just nice to see every day. She's got a good variety. She has a good variety of stuff, and she's always working on new stuff. Is that for me?
No. I don't know what I sent you. I know you ordered something and whatnot, but I have no clue what I sent you. But everybody loves this one.
Everybody, like, CPDs are great. I wish it was easier to find healthier CPDs. Do you notice that at the shop? That it's hard to get healthy CPDs?
I have some CPDs, but they are kind of yellowish instead of red. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But they're still healthy and good looking. And everybody loves this one. These two are the most popular prints.
Are they?
Yeah.
See, I'm not even into big fish, but when I saw the picture of the Arapaima, I knew that that was the one that I needed to get right away.
That one's not popular at all, the Arapaima.
Maybe I like angry fish. Maybe I just like angry fish.
I'm surprised you didn't get this one.
You know, I thought about it, and I guess, you know, now that you put that shrimp up, maybe I'll get that and the shrimp one.
Oh, I got a lot. And I can make more always.
Yeah. And if you guys, you know, it's a pleasure to be able to support Priscilla and get some of these prints to hang up in your room. But if you tune in to Priscilla's live stream on the weekends, you can watch her make some of this beautiful art. And if I'm not mistaken, is your live stream moving to a different day?
Yeah, to Saturday, 9 p.m.
Okay.
Eastern. Yeah, 9 p.m.
Okay.
Eastern.
So instead of Sunday, Priscilla's now going to be streaming on Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, I had some life schedule changes, so
Yep,
I had to adjust.
That happens. That'll happen sometimes. And Anthony's posting a link where you guys can check out those prints. And like she said, she's always putting more up. So that is awesome.
Oh,
and
whoever wins can pick whatever they want, size-wise too. It doesn't have to be an 8 by 10 now. I can also send out an 11 by 14.
Yeah, that would be great. You should offer up a discount deal for the entire collection. Everything you got. Oh, ooh. That's an 11 by 14?
Yes, that one's bigger.
That looks a little bit bigger. Okay. Awesome. That would be great. Can I win my own giveaway? Because I want more. I want more art.
You're disqualified.
Disqualified. That's one thing that every fish room needs more of, and I definitely don't have enough, is artwork and posters. There's some cool posters out there. I know you were just the other day showing off a shrimp poster that you had. I know that Sean probably knows of Zoa from Zoa's Healthy Fish, worked on a shell dweller poster not too long ago. Unfortunately, due to some life things, I think she's kind of stepping out of the hobby a little bit. But she used to be heavily involved in the shell dweller side of things. Great lady.
Trying to make
Freshwater
my
Connects.
Shrimp poster.
You're trying to make your own shrimp poster? Mm-hmm. That would be like hand drawn, like the whole poster is hand drawn stuff instead of just pictures.
Yeah. It might take a while.
Yeah, at least they're small, right?
Yeah, but still, it's a lot. Like if I put 20 shrimp on there, that's like 20 drawings. So
yeah,
it's a lot.
Orange Cone says he wants wallet sizes.
I have smaller ones too.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that. I think the like 4x6s or a 6x9 maybe. Yep, those guys.
4x6. I got those too.
Awesome. And can you get the 4x6s on your website at all yet?
No, because I usually give them away for free.
Yeah. Oh,
but maybe I should put them on my website.
I mean, I think it'd be cool to have a collage of some of the 4x6s too.
Yeah, I'll put them on.
Yeah, and I'm sure, you know, some other people would tune in. Maybe they don't have the wall space to put, you know, 14 full-size Priscilla prints on their wall, but some 4x6s would probably look okay.
So if you have a fish room, a lot of wall space goes to the fish tanks. I've noticed that.
Right.
Trying to hang up some art.
You're gonna have to start putting stuff up on the ceiling.
Yeah.
All right, so it's 5 minutes to the top of the hour. Let's make somebody's evening a little bit better, and we're gonna give away one of Priscilla's prints from SwissAquatics.com. And the way we're gonna do this is we have 27 people watching. So we'll say we're going to pick a number between 1 and 50, and you guys will have 1 minute to guess, and whoever gets closest without going over will be the winner. Priscilla, I am going to send you the number off the random number generator.
So you're copying my idea, huh?
I am. It seems to work out okay.
And I copied it from Pam.
So this is a little homage to Pam. But Priscilla has the number. So I'll give you guys 30 seconds to a minute starting now.
I was gonna enter too, man.
If you would like to enter, Priscilla, you can enter, and I'll give you something out of my tanks.
No, I'm not gonna enter. Ooh, Grape the Guppy guy is here too.
Anthony's Fishy Friends, hello. If you guys didn't see him sneak in earlier, great dude. If you want a casual chat stream and if you want to hang out with good people, Anthony's Fishy Friends hosts his streams usually later in the evenings, but you usually see a lot of the guys that are here. And if you haven't checked it out, be sure to get there. It's definitely worth a shot. Cheshire Cat, I saw you in the chat earlier. Hello, good evening. Give me just a couple weeks, and like I said, I owe you some plants, and I'll get those to you. Darlene's Tanks, hello. Thanks for stopping by.
All the lurkers are commenting now.
Oh yeah, that's how you bring them out of the woodwork. That's how you bring them out of the woodwork. Dan's playing. Dan wants some of that art. Dan's gonna have, if you don't follow Dan, so Dan currently runs his business out of his basement, but he's setting up this huge warehouse. And he's going to have a lot of wall space, so he's going to need. We're talking like 11 by 14 is not going to be enough, Priscilla. We're going to need life-size prints, like huge prints to cover up all Dan's wall space.
How about that? If Dan wins, I'm going to deliver it.
You're going to hand deliver it to Dan?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I think
Looks
it's
like
6 hours, 5 hours, something like that.
That's not too bad.
Between 4
I'd
and
love
6
to go see. I'd love to go see Dan. He's a nice guy. I like his operation, and I think is it Pam that usually organizes the camping trip out there?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So it looks like most people should have their guesses in. So we'll go ahead and stop there. Ooh, Dan's trying to commission you right now. Dan says he wants to hire Priscilla to do a mural.
Done deal. I'm coming. On my way.
All right. So we'll stop there, and I think I know who the winner is.
It didn't show me in StreamYard chat.
No, sorry, I sent it to you on Facebook.
No, I mean the number. Like I don't think it's all comments. Like,
oh, okay. I'm skimming through. I'd show you guys. All I did was I used a random number generator, and right now I only have the camera on my phone, so I can't show you guys my phone, but the number was 6. So we'll see who gets the closest to 6 without going over.
It's a low number.
You guys all guessed pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
71, 21, 41. Tennessee Aqua guessed number 5.
Wow. He already has like all the prints.
So, Tennessee Aqua, Robert, congratulations. You were one off, and you blew everybody else out of the water. Nobody else was even close. So congrats. I will message you, Tennessee, and we'll get you some sweet artwork. And so there is that. Now I don't know. Is anybody else streaming tonight that you know of, Priscilla?
It is Tuesday, and I don't think so.
It's pretty late because I know Bentley Pasco. So a few of you came over here after Bentley was finished up. I lurked in that one. Didn't get to participate much because I was making lunch and getting things ready tonight. But I don't think anybody else is streaming tonight. But I've got time. If you guys want to ask questions, or if you just want me to ramble, I'm more than willing to share my time with you guys, and we can talk, we can chat, we can open it up. If some of you guys want to come up, we can chat for a little bit. If not, we can call it a night. And you guys, appreciate everyone stopping by.
So I have a question.
Yeah, what's your question, Priscilla?
How do I fix
this? I don't know. What did you do?
It is not turning on, like, at all.
At all?
No.
Did you drop it?
No. It was like I hit the space button when I came home, and it was on the welcome screen where you punch in your password and stuff.
Okay.
And I walked away for 3 seconds, came back, and it was just off.
Oh. And it won't turn back on.
And it's not doing anything, even if I hold the button down or anything.
I don't know if I have an answer for that right now.
Somebody help me.
Somebody out there has got to be tech savvy that can. Sandy Dowdy said, try taking the battery out and putting it back in.
There is no battery.
No battery. So it's a sealed battery. You can't remove the battery. Next idea.
Should I screw this open? This thing was expensive. I'll figure it out.
What's up?
Oh, it's
What's up, Tom? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. It's my Friday night.
Your Friday night.
Yeah.
Dan asked where Steenfot is when you need him. Is Steenfot in IT? Is that his? I don't know what he does for work.
But he knows IT stuff, but I don't think he knows like hardware
type stuff. Okay. Dragon Layer says, "Dang Apple products." That's right. My wife's been trying to get me to do the Apple iPhone game for years, and I'm putting my foot down. I'm not going to do it.
It's not
I'm not giving in to the pressure.
It's an HP.
HP. Crowntail Half Moon's with us here. Hey, Crowntail. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate you stopping by.
What do you
we got one more. We actually have a celebrity appearance tonight. It was kind of a last-minute decision, but here he comes, the one and only, the winner, Tennessee Aqua, is in the house.
I say it's rigged. You have to redo it.
Redo it? All right.
I had a bad
Stay with Android. Sean, I'm trying to stay with Android. There's a lot of pressure. Dan's Fish, PC load letter.
I won't go Apple.
This guy down there in the corner, he has like 2 of my art pieces behind him. Yeah. He probably doesn't even know which one he wants because he has all of them.
I don't have Priscilla, any of the ones that are the shrimp, but I got these 2. I got the CPD and the Pleco, and then I got these.
And just imagine he bought them all. Isn't that crazy?
It's dedication.
There's the one that she showed.
Priscilla. Crowntail Half Moon asked, Priscilla, do I need to do another dosage of levamisole hydrochloride in 2 weeks after the initial 2 doses for camellinus?
Yes.
Okay.
Do it. It doesn't hurt.
Doesn't hurt?
Give it 2 weeks in between.
That's one thing that's probably one of the weak spots as far as my skill set goes is dosing meds. I don't usually dose a whole lot of medications, largely because a lot of my stuff's planted and medications and plants don't usually go along very well. But I've been watching Dan's stuff. I know how he does his quarantine process. I know how he treats. So got some ideas for medications there. And then Priscilla apparently knows a lot about meds. So if you guys have any questions about sick fish, dosing meds, Dan was in the chat. I'm not sure if he's still sticking around, but Priscilla's here, and sounds like she knows her stuff.
Dan definitely knows more than I do when it comes to medication. I would go to Dan if I had an issue.
They are grinding Robert up bad in the chat room.
Yeah, they are. And I do have I got about 6 tanks now.
Priscilla, since you can't really see the chat,
No, because I don't have a computer.
Somebody said that Tian Aqua is building a Priscilla shrine.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but it's okay.
Hey, what can I say? It's just some really, really nice looking art. I mean, and I encourage anybody who doesn't have any to put some up on their walls.
I appreciate it. Oh,
Crown Tail asked if it's another 2 doses of levamisole.
Well, usually if I do levamisole, I do at least 3 doses in total, but I give it 2 weeks in between. But I do that more for puffers when I just want to deworm them. I mean, if you don't see any signs of any worms, then you don't have to do it again. But I mean, like I said, it's not gonna hurt it. There's a light. The light's on.
Well, the light's good. That's progress.
But I think it's supposed to be blue.
No, not when it's charging.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Orange Cone says Dan's building a warehouse. Tennessee is building a Priscilla gallery.
Yep.
Watch that thing just be dead on you.
Sean, I'm not sure how many people in this chat actually would get that, but I grew up around it, so I think it's funny, but who knows?
Don't tell me just.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
I used to watch it.
I think
Dragon Layer said he has the calendar.
Yeah.
Dragon Layer's got Priscilla's calendar, which unfortunately I missed out on. So we need to press Priscilla to get another round made, I think, because I want one.
I don't want to bother chasing again for calendars. I ordered like 50 from him initially because I was like, nobody's gonna buy this, right?
Right.
And then I sold like 50 in like 2 days.
And so they disappeared quick.
Yeah, and then I ordered another 50, and then they sold slower, but they ended up selling too.
You know, we've got Tennessee is here, and Rico Stan was in the chat a little bit earlier ago, and Tom, maybe we should do a Men of Fish Tube calendar. What do you think? Put a little something together.
No. No.
Oh, right now you got 2 hillbillies on the bottom of your screen.
Yeah.
Wear our cowboy boots and our cowboy hat. A pair of suspenders.
You guys are not firefighters.
No.
Nice try.
Priscilla, Crown Tail wants to confirm, and this is back to the meds. The first step is 2 dosages, 24 hours apart, with 70% water change. Then follow up with another 2 dosages, same 24 hours apart in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so you did that. What was it? Select Aquatics. What's his name? What's his name? Greg Sage? Yeah, Greg Sage. Recommended. I mean, if you did those 2 dosages like you recommended, you're probably good. You probably don't have to do it again the same way.
That'll be the calendar. I have one.
Then, if that's gonna happen, you're gonna go in that calendar too. This is weird.
Dragon Layer wants in. Dan's in by default.
I like what Dragon Layer said. Young to old.
But I claimed the month of December, though. I gotta have December.
Who's gonna take the pictures?
I'm sure there's somebody in here that's pretty good at photography. That's one thing. There's a kid who does a lot of saltwater fish photography. I can't think of his name right now. He also shoots Tyler Termiti. Does that ring a name with anybody else?
Tyler, yeah, I know. I'm good at taking pictures, but I don't know if I would want to do it.
I don't know. I know Tyler used to shoot a lot of fish, but then he got into. I know he does concerts too. So
Hey, I seriously think my laptop didn't turn on because it wasn't plugged in.
Yeah, that's what I said. You had a dead battery. Just like, oh, my car don't start. It's out of gas. Oh, Jesus. Danger.
Oh boy.
Dan is every time he live streams and whatnot, he's so serious. He's so down to business. But if you hang out with him in person, he's like a jokester.
I get why he would be like that because of his business.
I mean, that's this is kind of what I have planned for my live streams, guys. Is we're gonna the first hour is gonna be business. We'll do more than just show you pictures of all my old crap. We'll do some educational, informational type stuff, and then after that, we'll open it up and we're gonna hang out. We're gonna get to meet the fish fam. It's gonna be a good time. Seems like we still have quite a few people in here that are interested in hanging out, so we'll make it happen.
So Patty said the only way she'll buy a calendar is if you pay her.
What?
Patty said the only way she'll buy a calendar of the men of the fish fam is if you pay her.
Oh. You know, Patty, you can take a calendar too and just flip it the other way so you don't see the cover picture. And just use it as a stand-up calendar.
I don't know. Between you two, I think
Now,
the pictures would be shown. I'm just saying.
according to Anthony, he said that he was going to start going to the gym. Well, wait a minute.
Just
wait a
because of the
minute.
calendar?
He said that he is starting my workout now. That's what he said. So
Anthony's a pole
I'm going
dancer
for
anyway.
Larry.
yeah, that is
Priscilla
true.
Crowntail asked, she said she was able to find a Amazon calculator online for 2 parts dosing, 30 milligrams per 5 gallons. I can say I can measure 40 of them. Is the extra okay?
Yeah, with that amount, it should be okay. But what kind of Levamisol did you get? Because that seems like a lot.
No cameras.
I feel like Dan Fish needs to answer this. Needs to come up here and answer this.
Dan's probably busy packing stuff. He's always packing fish at the beginning of the week.
He's always busy. I'm always busy. I'm still here.
Bottom Dweller says he needs a plantain hammock because the banana hammock was a little snug. Who is gonna? Somebody has to contact Dansley and tell him that we need his services and explain why.
I will call him. And I'm pretty sure he's not going to be part of it. The way I know it.
You know, if we do a men of fish tube calendar, we have no option but to do a women of fish tube calendar too.
Yeah, not gonna happen.
You know, there's something that I've always, well, not always, but had on my mind about, the whole hobby thing, especially with people who actually like has a job at the stores, you know what I mean? And they have to like go there all day long and like change water and stuff, and then they go home to their tanks. I mean, like,
where's this going?
I mean, see, like to me, that would be hard to like stay in the hobby, I guess, sort of like, enjoy it. But I was just wondering what your take of it is, as far as like, how do you keep the hobby fun while doing what you do?
Hey, we just figured out the other day I got 50 tanks, right?
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize I had 50 tanks. I thought it was more like 20, 30, something like that. But
so Crowntail asked if you can confirm if she needs to dim the lights or not for the 48 hours.
Yes.
Is Levamisol light? Okay. Is that because Levamisol isn't light sensitive, or does it break down?
Well, it's with most no, it's like like a lot of parasites are more active when it's dark
Okay.
too. Like ick is, but it's better to dose ick when the lights are off because ick is more
Okay.
active while the lights are off.
That makes sense. Dan from dansfish.com says levamisole, from what he's read, is very safe. Literature says you can use up to twice a normal dose without ill effects. However, he's never dosed it so high, but that's what the literature says. So Crown Tail, I would say the extra 2 milligrams, you should be just fine.
So by the way, speaking of levamisole, Fritz Aquatics, do your local fish stores carry Fritz product?
So one of them does.
So Fritz makes a medication now. It's called XOP, which has levamisole in it, and it has the whole like 1 package per 10-gallon deal.
Okay.
You're gonna need a new phone.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
It's probably waterproof, so you're fine.
Well, if it's an Apple, it'll crash.
Patty, we're talking about fish, not you.
Wait, what do you mean? We always talk about Patty.
Well, you gotta show it to Priscilla.
Yeah. I seen it.
Yeah. I love her profile picture.
Yeah.
It's William Shatner.
That's an old picture.
What Fritz product did you say that was, Priscilla?
XLP. Hold on, I'll get it real quick.
This stream went pretty good, Mike. It was a good one.
Thanks, Tom.
Yes, it was.
And I mean, like I said, things will get a little bit better. We'll, today was just kind of a, gauge interest, see how many people show up for this time frame, and let you guys kind of see a little bit about my background. And then the next week we'll have a little bit more of a structured topic that we'll discuss.
If I would have been home earlier, I could have figured it out that my battery was just dead.
It shouldn't have taken you an hour to figure that out, though, Priscilla. I think is the problem.
I just kept pushing the button. Don't mind me. Don't mind me.
Oh, that's that. Listen, that made my day. I'm telling you, it did. Listen, I had a rough day today. That made my day.
But at least I don't have to make a GoFundMe now, right?
Yeah.
And
just where you work, and he can have it as a tax write-off.
Yeah, and my boss would like that if I would use the store credit card for that.
I do gotta say now, these types of streams I really enjoy because you get to learn so much, that you did not know anything about before. And like in these types of streams, there's not a lot of them out there really. I mean, at all.
And that's that was part of my decision to start making some stuff on YouTube, is that there's so much with the internet. It's so easy to spread information, whether it's good information or bad. It seems like there's so much not terrible content, but there's some bad advice out there. So if I can get out and reach a bunch of people, and whether I know the right answer, or if I need to bring somebody on to talk about it, like maybe we'll bring Dan on the stream one night. We'll talk about meds, or Priscilla, and we'll talk about shrimp a little bit, because I know I've kept shrimp, but Priscilla knows her stuff with shrimp. And maybe we can get I'll talk to Rob or something, and we'll see if we can get some people in here to do some more informational stuff.
Yeah.
If that's what people are looking for.
I can make Rob come up.
I agree with that 100% because I can see why the new people in the hobby can get confused about some things, because like when I first got back into it, you know, I would do my research, but I would get all kinds of like different, like, you know, like different people with their own ways of doing things. And then, you know, I'd get, I guess, mixed up in what I was doing. I was like, wait a minute, this person said this is okay, but it's not okay. But, you know, I mean, but that being said, based on my point is these types of streams, I think that we need a lot more of, especially from people who has been in the hobby a long time and who actually knows their stuff, because this is what people needs. I mean,
Okay, good. I appreciate the feedback. Crowntail Half Moon is Crowntail Half Moon is going to drive this stream right now. They're in charge. The guys that have anyone use a 3-stage home water filtration using sediment and 2 carbon blocks for water in the hobby. The exiting water is then go to the storage for heating to be used when needed for water change. That's a great plan, Crowntail. What I do is I don't use a 3-stage. I have a 5-stage RODI. So I'm really cleaning the water up, polishing up, making it as pure as possible. And I have 2 55-gallon drums that I store it in, and I pump it out of the drums to the water tanks, and that I just drop a heater in there. I've got a Brute trash can on wheels that I can drop a heater in and warm it up to whatever temperature I want, and then mix. You can use like RO right or another like a remineralizing agent to get to the hardness that you want, and that works out pretty well for me for water changes. So I think if you want to use a 3-stage with the carbon blocks, that'll help you out.
Yeah,
and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to use cool water, because you know, a lot of people freak out about like matching the water temperature ideally, and I think it's kind of overhyped a little bit. You want to get close. I'd say within like 5 degrees most of the time, but a lot of the times you'll trigger a spawn, and it's just a little more natural, you know, environment to have those temperature changes. And I was talking to Dave from Dave's Aquarium Thoughts last night, and he uses an Inkbird controller, and he'll raise and lower the temp throughout the day to replicate the actual day cycle.
That makes sense. I know, like, whenever I do water changes, I don't try to get close. And a lot of times that's what triggers my Corys, obviously. Yep. It triggers other fish, too, to spawn.
And Corys, I've seen people, like, drop the temperature on Corys, like, 10, 15 degrees to get those things to go.
The unfortunate part for me is I have other fish in with them, so I can't get that drastic. So, like,
okay, yep.
The other day, well, we was having that storm come through that came in from the west. It came last night, I think it was. And I only do like a 5 because of the diddler fish that's in there, you know, so that I can see them where they come out. And I think I collected like 10 eggs, but there's probably more by the time I got to, because I wanted them to harden up a little bit. And I think that's probably one of my issues. So when I get them to their own tank, I'll be able to mess with that some more, you know, get black or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. Sean commented, I enjoy this type of hangout after more serious first half, but other hangout streams where it's just people randomly walking off or passing out gets old. Some of them get pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Black Label Carling asked what we do with our wastewater. So my 5-stage, I use it to. I've got a big sump pump that pumps outside, so I use it to water the plants outside or the garden. I know some people use it for laundry, so you definitely don't just have to waste it. But
you know, speaking of the whole 5-stage and, you know, 2 stages and whatnot, how many tanks would you recommend somebody have before they would want to buy one that would, I guess, save them money besides just buying the stuff that comes in the bottles that you put in the water?
I'd say it definitely depends on the volume. For me, like the last RO unit I bought, I think it was a liquid gen on Amazon. It was like $130, 75 gallon per day, 5-stage. And usually, depending on how much water you make, like your filters and your DI resin will last you, a year or two. So you can get thousands of gallons out of that. So if you're trying to soften up your water, if you're just trying to use cleaner water, maybe just have a bad tap water source. It's definitely, for me at least, it's worth the money. And like if you talk to any of the salty guys, they use it over buying water at the shop. I know Priscilla sells water at the shop. Most straight RO is usually like 25 to 50 cents a gallon at local shops. So you'll see people, go in with 5-gallon buckets or big Rubbermaid totes. I think Priscilla said she had somebody come with a water tank in the back of their truck and wanted like 400 gallons or something one time.
Dang. Yeah. If I was going to do that, I would definitely get one of them systems.
Yeah. I think
it adds up. It's definitely worth it. Sean says he's going to use an IBC tote to hold water. That's great. If you've got the room for an IBC tote, that works great. Unfortunately, my basement is a pretty narrow stairwell, so I could only get 55-gallon barrels down it, short of like buying an actual like a specific vat or something for it.
Good night, Dan.
Dragon Layer says that he doesn't want to stay up past the night and get ignored. And that's why I like some of these, even some of the big popular chats, where you get like 200, 300, 400 people in a chat room. Like no matter what you say, it's just going to get blown by most of the time. And that's where you see some of those bigger channels, like the only way they talk to you is if you send them money. And I'm not up here asking for money. I just want to meet people in the community and to answer questions and to try to help people out.
I agree with you 100% on that topic you just said.
That's
because like really, there is a lot of people out there, who just don't have it, who would love to do it, but I mean, with everything going on, just some people don't have it like other people does.
Yeah.
Hey Dave, welcome. I figured you'd poke in here sometime. Greg the Guppy guy asked, have you guys ever used wet-dry filtration system? No one today really speaks of them. Back in the 80s and the 90s, that used to be the end-all, be-all. I personally don't have experience with it. I think, like if you watch some of the videos, like the tours of fish farms, I think fish farms kind of use a big wet-dry type setup, but I personally don't have any experience with it. So if you're interested, though, if you have any questions about it, feel free to ask them, and I'll see if I can dig up some information, or I'll find somebody that does use it, and maybe one of the streams will talk about different filtration options like wet dries, full-blown sumps, etc. That would be a great topic. So we'll find some filtration nerd. I bet Dan from Dan's Fish might know about that, because I know with his warehouse he's looked in a ton of different filtration options. I think he ended up deciding on UV and basically a flow through, because he's drawing water from a creek, treating it with that UV and some filtration, running it through his tanks, and then back to the UV on the way out, because he's got to meet probably EPA guidelines or whatever.
Yeah, you're gonna have one heck of a system, dude.
I'm excited to see that. I will gladly drive out there to check that out, because it's going to be an impressive operation.
I'll definitely make a trip out. I can't wait. That's going to be something pretty cool.
You get your 250 and you pull your camper out and pick me up on the way, and we'll go see Dan. Orange Cone said rainfall in a river is not the same temp as the river itself. That's right. And you know what? In the spring, you get the melt off from the tops of the mountains, and you get some cold water flowing down. And that's, like I said, that's when you get that cold, clean water. That'll cause a lot of things to spawn. You're gonna see a boost in the ecosystem as a whole. All right, Orange Cones, thanks for stopping in. Have a great night.
Yeah, buddy, it's nice seeing you. That'd be one heck of a trip for me, bud.
Yeah, that'd be a trek.
Because it's 24 hours from here to Rapid City.
Yeah, that's a drive.
Yep.
Unfortunately, there's not an airport close to him either. Like you'd have to fly into Denver and meet up with like Priscilla and just jump in the car with Priscilla and head over.
You know, if you take 90 going over, I can meet you in Rapid City.
Yeah.
The longest I've ever drove, I think, was like 16. It was either 16 to 18 hours, and that was at Daytona Beach.
Oh, yeah. I've actually drove from Rapid City to home, and it's actually not a bad trip. But if you're pulling something, it's gonna take.
Oh yeah.
Because what I normally did, like in my car, I would drive to Chicago. That's like, to me, that's like the halfway point.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would drive the rest of the way.
And you know how windy it gets across South Dakota there. I-90's, I mean, you're driving in the wind no matter which direction you're going.
My buddy
Crown tail hat.
actually
Crown tail hat.
His camper lifted up and moved off the road with him pulling it.
Really?
90, yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Crown tail half moon said they're trying not to waste water with an RO system. What do you do with the wasted water? Like I said, some people water their gardens with it. Some people have it set up for, like, you can set it up for your dishwasher to use that water or your laundry. So there's options. I personally just pump it outside into my yard. So I don't know the exact details of how you'd get to run it off your dishwasher. I'd imagine just a quick pump or something would be easy enough. Geek Boy mentioned pretty much everyone uses sumps these days rather than full wet dry filters. They're similar, just missing the trickle tower. And I'd imagine the trickle tower, that wet dry type setup, you're probably just culturing a little bit different bacteria in there and getting some higher oxygenation into the water.
Sean, no, I was not on the track. We just took it easy and just stopped at we just stopped in a couple places on the way down. Just trying to enjoy what was on the ride down.
All right. Dan said he's off to bed. I bet he already bounced because that was a few minutes ago. Crown Tail said, thanks for the tip. What micron rating for the sediment and carbon block would you recommend? That'd be a good question for Dan in his stream tomorrow. Dan streams at, 7 o'clock Mountain Time. So 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Dan from Dan's Fish goes live every Wednesday night. And he's open to chat questions. He's a great guy. He'll answer every question that pops up in that stream. That's probably Dan's is probably one of my favorite streams. Dude's just super smart, just wants to help.
That was actually his was my first live stream I ever watched.
Was it?
Yep. And then I think second was Jeff Rose, and then I started watching Pam.
Okay. I think Dan was probably my first two.
No, I just don't remember how I stumbled across it, though, honestly. It's hard to tell. You just start searching stuff on YouTube when you're looking. It just popped up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
I'll check
this guy out.
I think I found Dan because he did a video, I want to say with Michael Manji, the barb guy. And he toured his fish room, where he had he's got those egg scatterer type breeding setups where it's a tank that's divided, and it's pretty neat. It's pretty cool.
Oh, you know what? It was. I think I searched fish room tours, and I think that's where I found him. Okay.
Yep. I wouldn't be surprised. But Michael Manji, I've never met the dude. But Dan, I think it was Dan, did a pretty good tour of his place. If you're into breeding barbs and stuff, it's nice to see, those tours where you see people that are breeding a bunch of stuff, and most of them are dedicated to one type of fish. Like there's guys that all they do is breed guppies, or all they do is breed barbs, or like Gary is primarily rainbow fish, but.
Who's the guy that's the killifish guy? Man.
Kent, not Kent, is it?
I can't remember, but that
I've got a friend that's bred over 300 species of killies, but he's just between work and his fish room. He's just so busy that like he has no interest in putting stuff up on YouTube to show people. So what I think I'm gonna do is when I get back, he just lives over in Iowa. I've got a bunch of friends over in Iowa that have pretty big setups, so I'm gonna go over there and just ask them like, hey, can I walk through your room, make a video of it so people can kind of see what's going on, because there's so many of those guys, and it's a lot of the older guys that have been doing this forever.
Yeah.
That there's so many cool tricks that they have and so much information that they have to share. They just don't have the time or maybe the know-how to do it.
Yeah, that it was an older fella too.
Yeah.
I can't remember who did it. It was a great video. Like I learned a lot from that one.
I seen a question from Crown Tail, and I do got a good answer for that. There's a guy, I believe he is in Australia. I think he goes by Mark's Aquatics, and like he's got all kinds of videos of him like doing I think it's black skirt tetras, neon tetras. I mean, yeah, he does all kinds of great things.
Yep, Mark's Aquatics. I'll see if I can find his link quick. But he's in Great Britain, I think, somewhere up there in that area.
Oh,
I might be wrong.
No, there's another guy I think he's talking about that's in Australia.
Yep.
I think he's an older fella too.
Yeah.
And he'll do like breeding videos on certain stuff. Like he'll just make a project, show you how he's done it and everything. But I don't think he's done rams. If you want to learn about rams, you got to watch Aquarium Co-op when he has Dean on there.
Yeah.
It is Mark's Aquatics. You're right.
Dean, I do recommend him for rams, but I'm pretty sure there's all kinds of other great people out there, but that's just people that I know for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I came across that guy and I just started watching him.
Yeah.
It was
Freshwater Canucks asked, you have a 1,000-gallon tank, freshwater. What do you do with it? I would say right now, obviously it depends on what they ask me, but right now, if I had a tank that big, I would go with Benthochromos, which is a Tanganyikan cichlid. And they are, I think they're really cool. I think they're pretty awesome. We'll see if I can find them.
Me personally, I would get into catfish, not the red tail, but something that stays smaller. Because I've been watching a lot of predatory fins, and wow, that's all I got to say about them catfish.
Yeah.
And for that would be the bottom fish. And I would probably go with a couple albino, is it knife fish?
Okay.
I think that's what they are. Just something totally different, but not really too aggressive. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep.
And I would go with a gar of some sort for the top.
Okay. Black Label said Jack is the killifish guy. She said LRB and Flip both did his room.
That's who it was.
I'll have to see if I can find that video.
That's who it was. LRB did it.
Yep. Bottom Dwellers said he wants some cool killifish, just doesn't know which ones. I would say some of the easier ones to keep that are fairly easy to find are going to be like your Epiplatus annulatus, which is your clown killie or the rocket killie. It's black with, I want to say, vertical orange bars, and then it's got kind of a blue spear shape on the tail. Or your Australia orange or Australia gold. Sometimes they have chocolates too. That's just a beautiful fish.
Yeah,
I've seen them. I like them chocolate killies.
Now, speaking of the killifish, I do know that Jesse at HC Aqua has some on his site. if you
Okay.
need a place to go to, just go to HC Aqua at Get Gills.
Another thing you could do is go on Aquabid. They sell the eggs.
Yeah, and they used to do that a lot with rainbow fish eggs too, but they don't do it so much anymore. Jack Heller, Sean said, is the guy's name. Angling and Aquatics says, y'all have a good night. Thanks a ton for tuning in. I think this is the first time I've seen your name pop up on any of my stuff. So hopefully we kind of set the hook on you and you keep coming back, and we'd love to have you join next time. It's always a pleasure. Enjoy the Pacific Northwest. We appreciate you stopping by and hanging out.
Have a good night.
Ali Shan AS said Benthchromis horii and tricot is extremely, I'm guessing, rare. And they're hard to find. I don't know if I've seen them for sale for a couple of years, but they are beautiful fish. Skippers, kind of like a crib. Benthchromis are not like cribs. Oops, sorry.
What happened to Miss Priscilla?
She's probably sleeping. But these are Benthchromis, and they actually get quite large. You can see here, they get pretty good size. They get big long streamers on the tail, and just some really cool colors.
I like that fish.
Unfortunately, they get bigger than I have space for right now.
Beautiful. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
They are pretty neat, and like Alishan said, they're pretty rare in the hobby. I don't know. I think maybe I've seen one or two people that have them, and I've never seen them in person.
I would do that too, Black Label.
I had a little interruption. I had to go check on my stuff because my power was out for 6 hours today.
Oh
no. I hope that they are all okay.
Everything's doing fantastic.
Well, great.
Good.
That makes
Black Label Carling said she wants a platinum alligator gar, which I have not seen in person, but I've seen pictures of them.
A 10-year
I don't know what
10-year-old kid called me today at the store, asked if I could get him an alligator gar.
Really? How much are the platinums? Because the platinums are
$3,000.
For the platinums?
Between 2 and 3, depending on size.
Okay.
I can see it now.
There's a black one of them gars. They're beautiful.
Dragon Layer said to join the AKA to buy killifish eggs. AKA is a great resource. Mm-hmm. Some of those guys are stupid smart. I haven't been to an AKA show. I did go to a Waco show, so Wisconsin Area Killifish Org. So it's a bunch of the same people, but there were some impressive fish there. That was pretty cool.
Hey,
Dragon Layer says feather fins. Dragon Layer, it's almost like you've been reading my mind, because I think that 180 that I posted in my last video, I'm going to do feather fins in, and I want to do the Ophthalmotilapia nasuda orange, which, again, feather fins are another one that's not super common. But it
found this,
and they take up a little more room. Is that Fritz stuff?
Yes. So there's 10 packages in here. It's like the same as the API stuff. Same logic. It's one package per 10 gallons. You dissolve it.
Okay.
And the XLP has levamisole hydrochloride in it. So you can also, if you have salt water, use this to dip your corals.
Oh, that's interesting.
For bristle worms and all the nasty things you don't want in your saltwater tank.
Yeah. So Crown Tail Half Moon asked, I've got a question on mixing saltwater for hatching brine shrimp eggs. Do you just add 1 tablespoon per 2-liter soda bottle, or mix the salt in water overnight, then check salinity and add the eggs? What do you
I
do, Priscilla?
usually add 1 spoon per liter.
Okay.
But I use the Fritz marine salt.
Oh, you use marine salt?
This one, the Paraclans by Fritz.
Okay.
Is the same as the API General Cure. It's metronidazole and praziquantel.
Okay.
So instead of using General Cure, you can use this. And it's the exact same medication.
Okay.
Just different company that makes it.
Okay. Well,
On that other part of that person's question, you don't have to wait overnight. You can add it once it dissolves, right?
Yeah, because it
I do.
bubbles.
Yep. So I throw it in a bottle. So I fill it with water, add my salt, and then I just throw the brine shrimp eggs in right away.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Dragon Layer said, add Konings. Talked about them on the New Jersey Aquarium Society live meeting last month. Hopefully I can catch a replay or something about that, because I'd love to go back and see it.
The Ohio Cichlid Association had somebody on there last week about they've been getting speakers on YouTube about different breeding projects. One was Corey's, which I obviously watched. Then the other one was they just did one with like Dania's, like egg scatters.
Okay. Was that Heather Burke that was on that one?
Yes, I think so. She was the one that did the Dania's.
Yep.
I haven't had a chance
remember that one
yet.
Alishan, Tricot is not in the hobby. Misnamed. Yep. Most are wild caught. I've heard they're difficult to breed. I'd love to try them. I'd love to keep them. I just don't have the space for it. They are super awesome fish, though. Geek Boy said he puts the salt in the night before and then adds eggs in the morning. So you really can't go wrong either way. Priscilla Crowntail asked what the active ingredients is in those meds that you were looking at from Fritz.
So there's also another one of these. It's the Mericin, which is erythromycin. It's the same as the API erythromycin, but it's called Mericin by Fritz. Looks the same, just different package.
Okay.
And then the Paraclans has 250 milligrams of metronidazole and 75 milligrams of praziquantel, which is metro and prazi, which makes General Cure. And then no other company makes this as aquarium medication, levamisole. So Fritz are the only ones that actually make it.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, you have to go get the drench powder from Amazon, which is the goat dewormer, or the liquid one, the Safeguard, Merc, whatever it is, which is liquid goat dewormer. And then you have to figure out the dosage, which with this one, as a hobbyist, it's easy. 1 package, 10 gallons.
Okay.
And then quarantine-wise, I don't medicate my stuff when I quarantine.
Okay.
I wait.
I know.
To see first if they get sick. And then if they get sick, I medicate.
Yeah, I've heard people doing it both ways. As long as you're doing something to quarantine and you're prepared appropriately.
But the reason I don't do it is because I work at a fish store, and we kind of do it at the fish store.
Do you?
Yeah. So if I get certain fish in, I treat them for certain things because I know that's what they come down with. And if you come 5 days later and you buy that fish from me and you take him home and you medicate that fish again with something else, then you're just kind of throwing a Molotov cocktail of medication at that fish.
And that's what Dan says about his stuff. He doesn't suggest you medicate any of the stuff you get from him just because it has gone through that process, even though it's been, he holds onto his fish for weeks before he lets them go, but they've already been medicated once. So just monitor them and then treat as necessary instead of as a preventative measure.
Yeah, and certain types of fish are sensitive to certain types of medication. I know a lot of people use the Met Trio, which is the genital cure, erythromycin, and ICX at the same time, but there's certain fish that can't handle all these 3 medications at once.
Okay.
So I wouldn't do it with every single fish just because somebody on the internet said use a met-3 of medications.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
The LFS I go to, she'll hold them for 2 weeks. She keeps an eye on them. Then if they need meds, she gives them to them.
I usually do 5 days because if something's wrong with the fish, it will show up within the first 5 days. But then certain things like cory cats, I will always treat them with antibiotics when I get them because they put 100 in one bag and they're being shipped overnight. And those little barbels they have on the side, they stress out, the spikes come out, and they stab each other in the bag.
Okay.
And if I don't give them antibiotics after I put them in our tank, they're going to come down with terrible bacterial infections or fungal infections. Right. So...
Dragon Layer, thanks for the heads up. He said that ads talk on the feather fins should be on YouTube. So I'll have to search for that and see if I can find it. Priscilla, do you levamisole for quarantine or only the Metro and Prozzy combined?
I don't use levamisole unless I think I really want to go kill some worms.
Okay.
that's kind of like with puffers. I would. Scaleless fish are more prone to have worms, parasites.
Okay. Right. Yep.
Like I would do it in that case, or if you get worms in your tank, you don't want. You can use that stuff too. So.
Right. Yep. Sean says he doesn't usually use meds for quarantine because he just, it comes from the fish source. Like I said, if you buy from Dan, they've been treated recently. If you're buying from most reputable breeders that are selling online are probably taking pretty good care of their fish, keeping them clean, or if you go to swap meets. However, I will say with swap meets, I've seen some fish that were in less than stellar shape. So keep an eye on things. But a lot of the times, people's reputation gets around as to whether they're passing around clean fish or not.
Since we're on the topic,
and if you order fish online, I mean, the best thing to do is put them in clean water, in really clean water. I mean, from the fish being shipped, being in a box for 24 to 48 hours, or depending on how long it takes. I mean, certain things can build up in the bag. So if you get like hardy enough fish, yeah, you can give them a little bit of ICX to make sure they don't come down with ick or a fungal infection or something because they've been in the bag for so long. But if you go to the fish store and your fish store's taking care of their things and you take them home and they're in the bag for half an hour, don't just throw medication at the fish. Because we don't take medication either if we're not sick. Nobody has ever taken antibiotics unless they really needed to take them.
Right.
Right. Tennessee was about to say something before we went off on that tangent.
Oh, yeah. Now I've asked this in the past, and I had people give me answers, but I forgot what it was. But when you have these little bitty, I can't think what they're called, but they're like a little tiny worm-like thing that you will find inside of your tank, and they hang out like on the glass or whatever. Somebody told me, yeah, it was like, I had people who said something about it's like a dog medication that you can get to kill them, but I forgot what it was.
Yeah, Penacure, which I was talking about that earlier, like the dewormer that kills. Planaria is a flatworm, and it's splits its cells. Like if you cut it in half, you get 2. If you cut it in 3, you get 3. So it's a lot of people. Sometimes I feel like it comes from overfeeding or it hitchhikes on plants. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why you could have possibly gotten it. I wouldn't blame any particular fish store or whatever for it, but they're easy to get rid of. There's certain medications on Amazon you can buy. It's called No Planaria or the goat dewormer will kill it too. I mean, without harming anything else in your aquarium except for snails. If you use the goat dewormer, you will also kill snails.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They actually make a trap for them. I use that instead of using medication, where I put some. I actually use the sinking pellets for 40 fish. I put in there and they all went right in there. That's how I got rid of them. Then some fish will actually eat it too.
Yeah, I mean, the ones that I have, I mean, they're not big at all. Like, these things are like teeny tiny.
Yeah,
And see, like, I put a mystery snail in there because I thought, that since he goes upside with the glass, just eating on everything, I figured he would eat them. But I was like, nope, he ain't doing nothing. So I took him out. And then I heard people talking about, like you could put guppies and everything in there. But the thing of it is my shrimp, I just recently had them give me a whole bunch of babies, and I don't want to put nothing in there that's going to eat them. So.
Well, would he be okay using a med with the shrimp?
Yes. And the thing is, I've seen big planaria take down shrimp. So planaria are not harmful to your fish. Your fish might eat it and whatnot, but snails and shrimp will be attacked by it, and eventually, I mean, they just kind of out-compete each other to keep it stable, but out-compete each other. You just won't see as many shrimplets as before if you have planaria. So it's definitely good to get rid of them with the goat dewormer or the no planaria stuff. But then you also gotta, every time you go and nuke worms in your fish tank, always make sure you're gonna change the water because they will all die in the gravel. And then you just create an pneumonia spike if you are overrun with it. So always make sure to change water afterwards too.
Thank you so much.
So, Crowntail asked, Priscilla, can you explain more on Columnaris and is it treatable? I will say that it's hard, but it's treatable.
There's a lot of different opinions on that on the internet. And all I can give you is my experience and opinion. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Everybody does it differently and probably sees it differently. I'm sure there's some people that would disagree with my opinion. But anyway, I think it is treatable, but it won't go away forever. It can come back at any given time. Almost like a virus can. Like you have it, or like every fish has ick, but it's not coming out. And I think the same goes for that. I mean, you can treat it, kill it with levamisole and whatnot, but you might get it back, you might not. So it's kind of hard.
Sean asked, assuming you had the tank set up, what's the one dream fish, shrimp, snail, or plant you want but never see for sale? What would you do, Tom?
What's that?
What's one? If having the tank itself wasn't an issue, what's the one dream fish, shrimp, snail, or plant that you want but never see it for sale?
Cool. Well, that's a hard question.
Yeah.
Priscilla, what do you think?
Way to go, Sean.
I really would love one of those dwarf blue snake heads.
Okay.
And I mean, we're in the United States, so it will never be for sale.
Not anytime soon, huh?
Yeah, I really don't. Damn. I don't have none. I can't answer that.
Watch, he's gonna get off the stream and go like, "Oh, I should have said that."
Oh no!
Yeah, I probably will whenever I'm laying down. Like, son of a gun.
If you find this video, I'll show you why.
Well, I can tell you, there's some native fish in Pennsylvania that we're not allowed to keep that I would like to. And I think one called redfin minnow. It's It's native to our streams, and they're great for trout fishing. It's the only time you can catch them, but you can't keep them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, this isn't necessarily like the one fish that I want, but don't see for sale. And like I said, I'm not big into main lake Africans, but I do like T. browshy. And I've seen them for sale maybe once in the past 5 or 6 years, but you just don't see them around anymore.
That's a pretty cool fish.
Another one that used to be more popular is, I think I spelled it right, Pseudocrynolabris nicolsi. And they used to be pretty prevalent in the hobby, and now you can't find them.
I could have sworn I saw those not too long ago.
I mean, every now and then they'll pop up, but it's usually people that are only selling males.
Oh.
Nice.
Uh-oh. Where'd your stuff go? Stop.
Yeah, look at this thing.
Yeah, that thing's pretty cool.
Wait till. Oh, hold on. I don't know. It's not the best idea to tune this on the phone. Why is it not? There you go.
Those are pretty cool.
That thing's pretty awesome.
How big do they get? You said it's a dwarf, but how big do they get?
Like 7-8 inches.
Are those angelfish in the same tank?
Yeah, Ultums.
Wow.
That seems like a terrible idea.
I don't know. I mean, the Ultums are still there chilling. But see that color? That's amazing. That's what I would want to get if I could, but I can't.
Okay, I'm with Priscilla. I really like that fish too.
That's pretty awesome.
That thing's neat.
But they're illegal. All snakeheads are illegal in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Black lay blast isn't columnaris usually in your tank naturally, but only affects fish that become susceptible to it through stress.
I don't believe that necessarily. If you start out with a sterile environment,
okay.
I mean, I'm sure that's debatable.
Sean wants these snails. I remember this question yesterday. Sean said he wants these snails, and it's just if I'm not mistaken, it's the snail that most shell dwellers actually live in their shells.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool.
That's a hell of a name.
You know, as far as the whole question about the fish, whatever, I'm kind of like with Skipper on that, because I'm still, I guess, kind of new to the hobby in some ways, I guess. That being said, that there's still so many cool things out there that I have yet to keep that I want to, that it's very hard to answer that, because like there's plenty of things that I really would love to have, that there's plenty of people out there that don't have them, so.
Right.
You know what we should talk about one of these days in a stream? About how to be patient as a fish keeper.
Good luck. When you teach people how to do that, you'll be making more money than I ever will.
We'll do that Sunday, and you'll come up, Priscilla.
I'm definitely guilty of that. I mean, I cannot lie. I am one of those people who gets kind of like stressed out sometimes when stuff don't happen right then and there. I mean, I will. I'll say I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta have that like yesterday,
Yeah.
But then I have learned so much, that I didn't know. Like, for example, I know that when your fish have babies, you want them to grow up really fast, but it seems like it takes them forever.
Yeah.
You try breeding like comps or calvus or rainbow fish, and you'll learn a new meaning for taking forever to grow. Holy smokes. Alishan said, Planaria will kill your shrimp. They've almost completely wiped out my colony of blues. I've never personally had a problem with it, but I know I've heard of like horror stories like that where it did happen.
What killed shrimp?
The planaria.
Oh yeah. Oh, I meant to show you guys some crazy pictures if I can find it. Probably got to go dig real quick.
Now,
But
speaking of
Chris Lukaup took a picture, a multiple picture of planaria taking down shrimp.
Now, speaking of that, now, like, if a person was to take out shrimp out of their tank and move them to another tank, for the time being, could you bring over them by doing that too? And
Most
put them
likely.
into okay.
There's a possibility because that worm could already be working on that shrimp in like underneath the shell. I've seen where they've been in there because when I found my planaria, I had cherry shrimp, and I was looking at the one shrimp like real close, and I could kind of see it wiggling in one of the creases. So, yeah, it could happen.
Okay. Dragon Lair asked if anybody's friends with Andrew Rao, as an Indian ichthyologist that posts new Indian fish and shrimp every day. That'd be cool. There's got to be so many species out there that we're just unfamiliar with, like totally unknown to the hobby. But he posts snakeheads, so maybe he's got some cool snakeheads for you.
I can't look at it where I want it. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna leave the country. Because all these dwarf blues or the dwarf snakeheads, they all come out of Asia where it's kind of warm. They would not make it in Colorado. They just would not.
Right. And I was talking about that the other day with somebody. Like a lot of these places where certain fish are banned, like because they could potentially be invasive, like they'd have no chance ever of surviving in certain areas.
Well, I blame Florida.
Weren't they having problems with snakeheads in Florida?
Yeah, I'll blame Florida for everything that's illegal.
It's because everything can live in Florida.
I'm waiting for them to make iguanas.
Iguanas?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was in Puerto Rico for work, they were like, you'd drive across the parking lot and there'd be a 5-foot iguana just cruising around the parking lot. And they said, so in Puerto Rico they have, I don't know if this is true or not, but the roads there are really bad. They have a lot of potholes. But they said the iguanas will dig under the roads and make a burrow there and lay their eggs in a burrow under the road, and then the road will collapse in that spot. So that's why the roads are so bad, because the heat. Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Crontel said, this is my first live stream with you all. Could you each give a brief insight of your experience in the hobby and if you breed? Sure. So I've been in the hobby for about 15 years. I primarily keep freshwater stuff. I dabble in salt occasionally, big into planted tanks, and I breed a wide variety of bread from guppies to crayfish to shrimp to saltwater clownfish. So I do breed a lot of stuff. Tom, what do you know?
I started back up about 2 years ago into the hobby. I've been getting into plants recently, trying to get them going. I've actually successfully bred my cories. I just haven't done the videos yet because I want to get it more down packed once I get the species only tanks. I've done live bears whenever I was younger. Right now I'm going to dabble into the rainbow fish. Some of the easier ones like the Madagascar rainbow. Then I picked up male and female threadfin. That's pretty much it right now.
Priscilla?
That's it. I've been in the hobby for about 10 years. And I started out doing all the mistakes, doing research. Because I made mistakes. And then I got into the fish community like almost 10 years ago, where all these big channels had not so many subscribers. And somehow I got multi-tank addiction. I was breeding angelfish, live bears, pea puffers at some point. I always had shrimp, and I always had plants. Like if it's aquarium plants, house plants, whatever plants. And then 2 years ago, exactly about 2 years ago, February 1st, I took a job as a fish store manager, and I obviously still have multi-tank addiction, even though I work at a fish store, so it's kind of like fish stuff 24/7 now. But yeah, that's that. Oh, and I do art on the side. Fish art.
No, you don't say.
It's a side hustle.
Before I'm gonna just interrupt for a second because I just thought of it. Crobia species, something that isn't in the hobby very often. Some of the different crobias. And I actually saw an article the other day, or somebody posted on Facebook saying they bought a fish and didn't know what it was, and it ended up being a crobia. It was like, so you accidentally bought a crobia, and the store had no idea what it was. Perfect.
You probably got it cheap.
I gotta say, a lot of things we order from certain wholesalers, I don't want to put names out there from wholesalers because that would go against the rules, you know. Anyway, they don't label things really well.
Right.
Like, then they don't tell the stores where things are coming from. They're kind of like, look at this picture of this fish, order 500 of them, and good luck.
You might get it.
Yeah. So don't. If the store sometimes doesn't know, it's just, you know, because the wholesaler didn't know, nobody knew.
Right. Tennessee Aqua, how about you, man? What's your story?
Well, I've been in and out of the hobby ever since I was like 10 years old, and this year is the first year that I've actually got into it as big as I have. And as far as fish that I've bred, convict cichlids, crevenzas, I mean guppies, but really you don't breed them, you just put them in a tank.
Yeah.
And then that's basically the same with shrimp. I bred them, and I really enjoy it, and I do recommend that anybody who is new into it, like Priscilla said, watch where you do your research at. I recommend you asking people like who you hang out with on streams, who seems to be pretty knowledgeable, and just get their insights about it, and then just try to take all the information you can and combine it into one and do your best, because this whole hobby is it's all about fun and experience, and you will learn by your mistakes real quick. So just have fun.
Yeah, I agree. Another thing about the hobby that it just popped into my head, like for me, with the whole purpose of having this tank behind me, when I got back into it, I realized it helped me with my PTSD, and especially with where I work. You come home and for me, if I worked at a fish store like her, I'd probably be worse than her. I'd probably have 100 and some stinking tanks because I'd want to bring them all home. You know what I mean? But like
you go past that point at some point.
Yeah, and well, yeah, I get that like at the beginning, but it's a very good stress reliever. You know, just sitting there watching the fish. Like this tank at the beginning was in the living room. I had it right beside my recliner, and I would find myself watching it more than while we was watching TV, because it's just, I don't know, it's just the fish swimming around just does something to your brain. You know what I mean? It just helps you relax.
Yeah.
Oh, I finally
I've
found
heard Shrink say that too.
Yeah. I'll just kind of on that while we have a second, since you brought it up. I know we have a pretty good military showing in the fish family, and there's everybody's got their struggles, whether you're military or not, but it is pretty prevalent in military people. So if any of you guys need anything, it doesn't matter. I know the fish community is pretty tight. Don't be afraid to speak out, reach out to somebody. You guys have my email. Contact me any time of the day, night. I don't care. But there's always people here to help you guys out. And there's some of you guys that I have no problem reaching out to if I ever needed someone to talk to or a hand up. So that's one of the things that I love about the FishFam is that everybody's here to be helpful. Reach out with open arms. So don't be afraid to ask somebody if you need something.
And on that note, also, just because somebody tells you how to do something doesn't mean that's the right thing for you to do.
Right.
It's everybody gives you advice based on their experiences, but because their experience was a certain way doesn't mean it's going to be the same way for you.
I agree with that.
Like here, I found the picture after looking forever.
That's crazy.
What is that, Priscilla?
Planaria attacking a shrimp.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Get there. Wow.
Yeah.
I know what I found out is all the information, I just take it in, and that sometimes, like for me, that's just nuts. Like for me, I kind of mix it, and it seems to work out. You figure out your own way to do it. Pretty much what it comes down to.
You know, after seeing that picture, I've got to get that stuff off Amazon like yesterday.
Well, I
sent
you a picture of something that you can use too if you don't want to get the meds.
Okay. Because of I don't have mini shrimp at all, and that being said, what I do have, I would like to keep. So
I usually use this, and it works pretty well. It's called no planaria.
Okay.
That's not a bad price either.
That's probably the one I've heard of the most.
A lot of people will go like, "Oh, it doesn't work because it's natural stuff, right? You have to use a dewormer whatsoever." But I've used it plenty of times, and it worked.
Okay.
So it's like the not so harsh option to use.
Okay.
Probably a lot more for shrimp.
Priscilla Crowntail says they have a pair of angels that only lay eggs on the floor of the tank, then eat them. They appear to be fertile. Any advice on how to get them to lay on the slate?
Take the substrate. Like, do they?
No,
do
there's
it
no.
On the... Oh, put substrate.
It's bare bottom.
Yeah, put substrate in there. They won't lay on the substrate on sand, even if it's just like a 1/8 of an inch sand.
That's what I do too. Substrate should probably fix that.
Weird angelfish would if they would lay on the substrate. But yeah, there's also like 30 different types of planaria out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's not just one kind of planaria. And you can tell it's planaria when the head is shaped like a little arrow.
Yep.
And it's a flat mark. It looks ugly when it gets big. I mean, it doesn't get that big, maybe like 1 inch max. Yeah, about 1 inch.
Sean said, very true, even if I tell you something about shelled oilers, but your method or someone else works better for you, then without question, go with what works best. I'd say that a lot of it, go with what works best for you most of the time. I see it grinds my gears, and I don't mean to be like judgmental or uppity, but it really grinds my gears when somebody's doing something that's pretty well ill-advised, but they say they've been doing it for X number of years. Well, I've done this for 25 years. Well, you're still wrong. You've just been doing it wrong for 25 years. Like, I'm not saying there's only one way to do it, but you're doing it at probably one of the worst ways that you could do it and still successfully get by. Right?
Well, I can tell you, I know when I first started this when I was a teenager, I was doing it all wrong. I would put that tank the whole way down. I'd put the stinking fish in a bucket. I would carry then I would put the substrate in another bucket. Then I would take the tank outside, scrub it with a pad, hose that thing down, put it back up, put everything back in. And it worked for a while. Then I was wondering why I was losing fish, but now I know. 20, 30 some years later.
Right.
Yep.
It's freaking nuts.
Dragon Layer pointed out that some angels may take, 4 or 5 tries to learn to take care of the eggs and fry. Some never do. That's right. And that's with a lot of the egg layers that actually protect their eggs at all. You'll notice like the apistos or angels, they just don't get it right. It takes them a few tries to learn. Sometimes they don't figure it out. Sometimes it's just you'll have a pair and you don't have any luck like raising them up, and you split up the pair and you swap females or something, and then it clicks. But yeah, going back to the whole patience thing.
Yeah, definitely patience, because I've seen flackers where you can't, even with bristlenose, that one male might just keep eating eggs because he just has a flavor for it and will never stop.
Right.
It's time to put that male out and put introduce a new one into there, or let the other male become the alpha.
Speaking of the patience deal, believe me, I know, because Priscilla has had to talk me down a couple of times. She's like, Robert,
relax,
calm down, chill out. It's going to be there. Chill out. It's going to be okay. Just stop stressing about it.
I think I even was yelling at you.
Yeah, she was like, listen, you're stressing me out by stressing out.
She end up walking, you keep that crap up, boy.
Yeah.
Sean said he's had fish lay on the bottom glass instead of a piece of something, or like a tile or something. So he said he just put the tile on the bottom. That's weird that angels would even try to spawn on the floor, but apparently it happens.
It's probably clean, bare bottom. That's probably
why. Anthony says, I love when people say a fish combo works and they've kept it for like a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what my favorite customers are? Like a family. Mom, dad, 2 kids. 3-year-old, 6-year-old. They set up a 29-gallon tank because as a family project. They listen to the nitrogen cycle advice and everything, go home, set it up, come back 2 weeks later. And everybody individually did little research. Right?
I can see where
and then it
going.
starts. Dad goes like, I want African cichlids. And then the daughter goes like, I want to put a guppy in there. And then the son goes like, I need a frog. And the mom goes like, I want an angelfish. And I'm just like, all right, listen, guys. Those are like, yeah.
Anyway, you need to go set up 3 more tanks, then come see me 2 weeks later.
Yeah. But that's what usually happens. Dad gets disappointed because he couldn't put African cichlids in there. Mom gets disappointed because she couldn't put. I usually try to go with what the kids want. That's just what I go with. And then 2 weeks later, they set up another tank, and then a month later, they set up another tank, and then all of a sudden, they got 5 tanks.
Mm-hmm.
And the parents are more into it than the kids, and the kids already lost interest.
Yeah.
So, yep. Crowntail asked if levamisol will cure planaria.
No. Yeah. No. I heard it kills some of it, but it doesn't kill it all.
Okay. Dragon Lair said he read Angels for 25 years. It seems like Angels were super big in the late 90s, early through the 2000s, I think, as some of the more designer types started popping up as people were breeding them.
Yeah.
But it's like the past 4 or 5 years, it seems like they died off.
I think they're having a slow comeback.
I mean, you see it with every type of fish. So if you look at the main lake Africans, like your Mbuna and stuff, they were super popular, and now you can't pay somebody to take them off your hands.
Oh, and one of my best friends runs a fish store out in St. Paul, and we always talk a lot about what's popular and whatnot. And I mean, here where I work, because of the way our water is, a lot of people do angelfish, a lot of people do tropical South American things. But where he is, he can sell guppies all day long. Like anything that can live in hard water, he sells like hotcakes where I can't.
Right. So, Alishan said, I'm treating my tank with no planaria. They already killed the snails and the tanks, so no worries there. No planaria seems to be the go-to from all the big shrimp names that I've heard. Seems like no planaria is the go-to for that one.
Fenbendazole works really, really well. But if you use the fenbendazole in Panacure or the goat dewormer or whatever, people tend to overdose it. And it doesn't kill the shrimp, but I feel like it makes them infertile for quite some time. They won't reproduce.
Yeah.
Where the no planaria, you might have to do it 2-3 times in order to get rid of the planaria, but it doesn't harm the shrimp's fertility.
So that being said, that bag of no stuff that you're talking about, how long would that bag last?
I mean, I got one of those bags, and I got it about a year and a half ago, and I got like 30 shrimp tanks, and the bag's more than half full.
Okay, well then that's great.
It will last quite a while.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Dragon Lair said he bred angels late 80s through the early 2000s. Yep, like I said, it seemed like kind of the late 2000s, maybe like into 11, 12 a little bit. Angels were still pretty big. It was like when you're starting to see like your high coverage kois, your Philippine blues, your Ken Kennedy lines were getting big, and then it kind of just trickled off. Pistos, like angels, trickled off, and Pistos seemed like they got more popular at the same time.
Yeah, Pistos and Rams are super duper popular right now.
It seems like the koi and the platinums are kind of popular right now.
I'm waiting for the African cichlid to come back.
Right now, I love shrimp, guppies, and pistos. That's my hot thing right now.
Right now, everything nano planted is really popular. And nano, like up to 30 gallons fish tanks.
Okay. Crowntail asks, can anyone explain how to artificially hatch angel eggs?
Oh yeah.
I've never pulled eggs myself to hatch them out. So maybe one of you guys have experience with a tumbler.
No, not a tumbler. They're kind of like Cory eggs where you don't want to tumble them. You gotta make sure that you gotta keep an eye on how big a piece of slate you put in there, because you can use a gallon mason jar, slide the slate down in there, and use an air stone.
Okay.
From fungusing, just put a little methane glue in there. Once they start dropping down to the bottom, you want to start transferring them over to either a breeder box or another tank to start feeding them the brine shrimp.
Now, I was watching somebody's video the other day about artificially hatching eggs, and I can't remember who it was, but they said they had a friend that was hatching fish out like that. Honestly, angel fish, but they were hatching fish out using methylene blue. And at one point in time, they started getting a fry that actually had blue color from being in so much methylene blue. So we kind of shied away from it.
Yeah, when I used to do angel fish, I had my breeders in a big 75, and they would always either lay their eggs on a Amazon sword plant or the slates I put in there. And I made sure the slates aren't longer than 10, 12 inches and like 2-3 inches wide. And then I would take a 5-gallon tank, an Aquarion 5-gallon tank, and I will put the slate in there sideways, basically, so it doesn't fall down, so the eggs don't fall, basically. But I would put an air stone underneath it, fill the tank only halfway, and put a couple drops of methylene blue, like so you can't see the methylene blue, not as much blue where the water turns blue.
Yeah.
And I would let them hatch out in there, and then the tank was only half full, and instead of removing water, doing water changes, I would just every day add like an inch of water.
Oh, that's
so the tank was full without having to actually change water.
Okay, I like that. Okay. I'll tell you another person to watch on that is Patrick Neary. He's actually out of New Jersey. He does a lot of angel fish. That's a good gotta watch too. He has
Okay.
great.
Easy to breed.
Crontel asked how long after the expiration date for meds will you continue to use them? Same for fish foods. I don't shoot with that many meds, so I don't have an answer. As far as fish food, I burned through fish food way before it would ever go bad.
I know with meds like what I've used for myself, I've used it past the expiration date mark, but it might work for fish too. But
Then you get the placebo effect.
yeah, that's just a sell-by date, damn it. That's what they say with food.
Yeah. It just says Best Buy. It doesn't say it's bad after that.
That's why you go to them second-hand stores. They got a lot of freaking hamburger helpers sitting there or something.
Yeah.
You know, I have a good question for Priscilla and Mike there. And it's only because I am currently on the fence, so to speak, about it. Anyway, I have heard of people putting their fish foods in the refrigerator because it keeps them fresh longer, which that's what I currently do. And I've heard of people putting fish food in the freezer, I guess, and I guess that people do that just in case, just like if they got too much of it or something. But that being said, what would you all recommend as far as putting your fish food in a refrigerator types thing as far as that goes? I mean,
I don't personally do it. I use cans of brine shrimp eggs, so I keep those in the freezer, but I don't put any of my other food in the fridge at all. I just use like Ziploc. I'll use like Ziploc bags, or if you get like a glass jar, like a salsa container or something, I usually put like pellets or wafers in there. But I mean, my flakes, I don't put flakes anywhere. I just leave them out in a Ziploc. Maybe you guys put your stuff in the fridge. I don't know.
I don't know. This topic makes me angry.
I'm sorry.
Food?
Woosah.
Food in the refrigerator makes you angry?
Yeah, so flake foods, pellets are designed to be dry, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they put this seal on it before you open the can in order to keep it as fresh as possible. But you don't see the manufacturers refrigerating all that stuff before they send it to the fish store, do you?
No.
So that stuff is dry food. It's designed to be dry. You adding it to a refrigerator or freezer after you opened it will add moisture to that food. And adding moisture to the food will make that food go moldy. Even you can't see that the food went moldy. There will probably be little spores of something on there. So you're basically spoiling that food. Better question. Would you put crackers in your fridge? Would you put cookies in your fridge?
No.
No.
It's kind of like the same thing. And then people go like, oh, my fish went sick, blah, blah, blah. Same as some people like to leave frozen foods out. I don't know why. But it says on there it's frozen. You know?
Yeah.
So
I got let's see, we call it a homestead way of storing dry goods. So what you want to do is if you buy it in bulk, okay, because I buy a lot of stuff in bulk, even though I don't have a homestead, but it's cheaper that way. I have crackers in the fridge. We'll leave that alone. But anyway, what you want to do is you want to get a vacuum seal. You can vacuum seal that stuff because you want to use that food in a certain amount of time. So if you buy a big container and you're not going to use it within a certain amount of time, you can vacuum seal that and put it in like your cupboard or something in a dark area, and it'll help save it. It'll keep it fresh is what it'll do. But you can put it in portions of like how much you're going to use within, say, 2 weeks, a month, or whatever, and that's how you can help keep it fresh.
Now that being said, if somebody has already done that with their food, and if they took it out and just not put it back in, would that make the food go bad, like a lot faster?
I once you take that out and you're going to start using it, keep that lid open for a while, let that air dry it out a little bit. You can still use it, but it's just not going to be as fresh.
Now, this being said, this question is for somebody that I know.
Oh, you talking third person or what?
No.
No, you can
But
still.
seriously, though,
I mean, how much fish food did you buy? Are you going to like use it soon, or is it gonna take you years, or what's?
Well, I mean, like, you know, I've had this stock of food for about 2 months now,
Yeah, I mean that's not bad.
and you know, and that being said, I think I got 2 cans that I still have not like opened up, you know. But see, though, I like to use different types of fish food, just so that way, like, I can give my fish different things. You know what I mean? So
Why are you using a lot of different types of foods?
because I mean, I just, for some odd reason, I just thought in my head, you know that like it, you know, that it would be better to give them something different than the same thing every time.
You know, like Tetra, Color Flakes, Omega-1 flakes, whatever flakes you can buy, they all go by the same base recipe. I mean, there's like little variations, but it's all the same food at the end of the day. I mean, some has better quality than others, but yeah.
I feed like either Ken's. If I'm getting flakes or pellets, I usually just buy like either Ken's or your fish stuff. They're both pretty cheap. I mean, I feed a lot of live food though. So I feed a ton of live food like microworms, vinegar eels, white worms, brine shrimp. So I'm not super worried about getting any nutrition really from the flakes. But.
I mean, the same goes for frozen food. I might be biased here because I work at a fish store. I have to feed a lot of fish in a short amount of time. So I might be a little biased, but I try to go the easy route. But I don't like frozen foods at all because it makes your tank dirty. Like somebody that feeds frozen food every day has way higher nitrates and phosphate levels than somebody that feeds just pellets.
Oh yeah, I know that from experience with the bloodworms, like with the cories, because I can't find blackworms right now.
Blackworms are tough right now. Yeah, it's hard to get blackworms.
And it's like, yeah, that them bloodworms, like if they don't eat it all and all the insides come out into your water, then say you got to hang on the back filter and it starts picking up the casings. Once you turn that tank off, if you're doing a big water change below the heater or whatnot, them casings are coming back out of that too.
Yeah.
So I don't like blackworms because they always have leeches.
Yeah. Sean said the Fish Guys podcast had a fish vet come on and talked about food, super informative, highly recommend. It shouldn't be frozen. Also changes the minerals. I haven't listened to that one yet. I'll have to listen to that one, Sean. Thanks for the heads up. So I'm not gonna hate on any companies or anything, but if you're feeding brine shrimp, you can get way more for your money with the same hatch rate doing something else.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Like, I think that can that Tennessee Aqua had, or that little tub, was $20 for like 3 ounces. I pay $50 for a 1 pound can, which works out to about
with the same percentage,
same hatch rate, if not better.
But here's the thing, though. I really like those eggs because I've used Brine Shrimp Direct, and it drives me crazy because Brine Shrimp Direct's eggs, to get the unhatched eggs separated from the brine shrimp, is a nightmare for me. And then like with their eggs, I don't have an issue with it.
Yeah.
Did you order the premium?
And plus also like, I mean like, like for as much as for the hatching I do, I bought that can probably about five or six like months ago, and I'm still not even like halfway into it yet.
Yeah, that brine shrimp egg is something I do keep in the freezer. Alishan said the New England Cichlid Association is hosting Anton Lambeau this Saturday for their monthly online Zoom meeting. Cichlids of the Congo and tributaries. That would be a good one. I'm going to set a reminder for that one because that would be good. The best part about Corona, I think, is all these freaking webinars with all these speakers that you would never get to see otherwise. Like, no chance.
You got to pay some money to go see.
I mean, I've seen so many guys talk for free in the past 6 months, and it's amazing. You don't have to travel. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Also,
I enjoy that also, just like what you're saying, because normally you'd have to pay a membership with some kind of association, and now they're using. I think they're doing YouTube and Facebook at the same time. However the heck they're doing that, I don't know.
Yeah.
But they stream it at the same time, and I learned that with the first one with the Ohio guys. I was like, man, I gotta watch more of it. My God, the stuff you learn.
Oh yeah.
Like my mind hurt.
Yeah.
Like
Greater Chicago Cichlid Association's done one a month, I think, for a while. Like I said, was it Ohio? I think Ohio had Heather Burke the other day talking about Danios. Gary Lang did one for Sacramento. It's just, it's a good time to be keeping fish. It really is.
I think Gary Lang also did one for the Ohio also.
Probably.
Yeah. Because he's from Ohio, isn't he?
Missouri,
yes.
Yeah,
right.
He's part of Mazzy. Crown tested use white bread soaked with 50-50 vinegar water mix, add eels, and in a few days they'll crawl up like microworms. Microworms are pretty easy to culture. Vinegar eels might be the most stupid easy culture I've ever had in my life.
Can you send me some vinegar eels?
Yeah.
Can you get that home, please?
Alishan said their club's hosting a speaker from the Philippines. That'd be cool. Who is it? Is it like a big name, or I'd imagine if they're coming from the Philippines or talking from the Philippines, it's probably a big deal.
That would probably be a good one to watch, being a native.
Yeah.
Right. I would actually like to watch that one.
Geek Boy said whoever mentioned Andrew Rouse Facebook page is evil. That's a never-ending rabbit hole. I went and sent him a friend request. I haven't opened his page yet, but I think that was Dragon Lair that mentioned that.
I don't know why people saying they're having a hard time getting black worms, because I just looked up the wholesaler that usually sells black worms, and they do have it in stock.
Maybe I don't know. Just the local shops down here have had them. Usually, when I go up and talk to Phil in Minneapolis, I'll get blackworms from him.
Tell your local shop to sign up with Seagrist Farms.
Yeah,
my local shops are not great.
But yeah, a lot of the LFSs around here ain't gonna carry that live food stuff. That's my problem.
Okay. Dragon Lair said he signed up for OCA's Cichlid Extravaganza. That was awesome. I'd like to do that one. They seem like they have a pretty good show going on.
I was thinking about that too. And that ain't really, honestly, too far from me. It's 2 more states from you. It's just next door to my state.
Ohio, yeah.
I did think about doing that.
Yeah. Patty wants to make grilled cheese.
Man, I wish you didn't say that, because now I want one.
Yeah.
Make that.
I'm gonna have to go make me one.
Crowntail said the bread method's different than using the apple slices and the liquid mixture. Yep. So what I normally do is I'll take like a beer bottle and I'll put apple cider vinegar mixed with water in there, introduce my culture, and I'll take a cotton swab, like a cotton ball that you use for like your makeup or cleaning your face or whatever, and I'll push that down in there. And then when I want to feed, I'll just pull that cotton swab up, shake it in the tank, and then it'll distribute vinegar eels. I've been smoking a while. A grilled cheese sounds incredible. All right, Patty, you are responsible for making grilled cheese for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, how about her?
Dragon Layer snuck his hand up. Yep, it was Dragon Layer that suggested Andrew Rao. I'm gonna have to look at that. I'm gonna get let's roll 15 more minutes, guys, and then we'll shut this bad boy down. I'm surprised. Last I looked, we had like 20 people watching, which is impressive for this late at night.
I'm tired.
So
You're tired. It's 1 o'clock and almost 1 o'clock in the morning over here.
Geek Boy wants some loaches and catfish. Another Facebook page that I followed was the Guyana Wild Fish Association. They're down in South America, and they post some pretty cool wild caught collected stuff. I don't know if much of it's for sale, but they post some neat stuff.
I need some baked bettas.
Barnett Shutton, owner of Marine Fish, Invert Export, RV's Fish World. That'd be interesting to tune into.
Huh. It's Dragon Layer Gremlin. I've been that called before, too.
I kept my mouth shut when I saw it. I was leaving it away.
Every time that I even forget about that, somebody brings it up.
Yeah. So Crown Tail said to try the different method for. Okay, yeah. When I get home, maybe I'll make a video. We'll do a video series on live foods, and I'll buy some. I'll get some cultures to get going, and I'll try the bread versus the liquid with the apple slices, and we'll see how each one does. They may be identical. Maybe one yields more.
I can't keep microworms alive.
Really?
Too lazy.
Microworms smell to me, but
yeah, but
I usually have no problem keeping them alive. White worms, I had white worm cultures going, and my white worms, the population kept growing, but I kept getting a lot of mold in them.
Yeah, that's my problem. I get it to explode, and then I forget to make a new culture, and then that crashes, and boom, down.
Yeah. Dragon Layer says best live stream in forever. Thanks. That means a lot. And I don't know. I didn't expect to go 3 hours tonight. I figured we'd give it an hour. But it seems like there was still some interest, so we're rolling with it.
Yeah, you said an hour.
I know. We're rolling. But I mean, it's not just playful banter right now. We're talking about some pretty decent subjects, and Dragon Layer is introducing us to a lot of new people and a lot of new fish that it sounds like Geek Boy is going to want to have some empty wallets or empty pockets, empty and open his wallet because of. So shout out to Dragon Layer, appreciate it. It's these guys that we need to lean on a little bit to help us out, give us some of that old school information, and they know people that Dragon Layer's dropping names that I've never heard of, and apparently it's really worth it. So we appreciate it.
Dragon Layer has been in the hobby for a while, and he said earlier he's old as dirt. So he knows
Dragon Layer and Greg, I think him and Greg the Guppy both said they were breeding angels back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Like years of experience can go a long way.
Oh,
Sean, it's been 3 hours. It's tonight rolled. Well, it's still sunny outside, so I can't say tonight yet, but it went by pretty easy. Thanks to you guys, it helps a lot. Crowntail says microworms are so easy. Use whole grain bread. Yep, that's what I use. I used to use oatmeal, but bread works better. Not soggy and add microworms than yeast. Very easy. No nasty smell, more like beer or sweet smell. If runny, add more bread. What I do is I'll either use, and this is a trick I learned from a Killy guy. He has a piece of soft foam, and he'll put that in a small Tupperware container, put maybe 1/4 of an inch just so it keeps everything moist. And then he'll put either bread or cat food on top under like a microscope slide. So you got the foam, there's water in the bottom, the foam, either bread or cat food, and then a microscope slide on top of it. And then you just pick up the slide because all the worms will be up there to feed. They'll live in the foam, but they'll come up and feed on the bread or the cat food. And then they'll just stick to the glass. So you take the slide, you give it a dip, and you move on with your life. And it worked out really well. So. Dave said he wasn't bred until the 70s.
But I wasn't bred till 82, so.
Geek Boy likes red-nosed Pinocchio shrimp. They've been, I first saw those available a long time ago, but it doesn't seem like anybody really keeps them.
I ain't never seen them before.
Priscilla, you see anybody keeping the red-nosed shrimp?
Yeah, what? Oh, the Pinocchio shrimp?
Yep.
I thought about getting them, but I feel like they predate on other shrimp.
Oh.
I think. No, wait, no. Are they prawn-like shrimp?
I think so. Dragon Layer said he just turned 71 on the 13th. Happy birthday, even if it's a little late. And we're glad to have 64 years of experience on our side. You're a pleasure to have around. I see you in a bunch of the streams, and you always got good things to say, and you're always willing to help. So we can't thank you enough for being around.
Oh, the Japanese Carolina ultra eaters. I think they're just really sensitive. And I don't think enough people really show interest. That can get some.
Bottom Dweller says he's playing with his flower horn. Well, we appreciate you listening. There's not a whole lot to watch. It's a couple pretty decent beards that people are working on and a hell of a mustache. And then there's the little gremlin down in the corner. But we love her anyway. She's our gremlin. She's our gremlin.
That was good.
My apple juice is flat.
Anthony says 40's coming up fast.
Anthony's
Maybe for you. Maybe for you, Anthony.
Yeah.
My birthday's coming up soon too, and I'm old as dirt too.
Yeah.
38, so 2 more years.
I'm just a young pup.
So when is your birthday?
You don't know when my birthday is?
Oh boy.
You never
told
me.
Right.
You never told me.
Yeah, I did.
And on that note, before we have a murder scene on our hands in this stream.
Well, it's not that soon. July 24th. I said you can remember it 24/7.
I really gotta start using my mind before I open up my mouth.
Crowntail asked if Dragon Layer's on Facebook. For those of you that are on Facebook, an easy way to find me and a bunch of the other people, if you go to the Get Gills Facebook group, that's one that I kind of co-operate with Dan from Dan's Fish and Get Gills. We got a pretty good group of people over there. It's fairly quiet. It's not big enough that things get lost and you get a lot of nonsense. And for the most part, most of the posts are really helpful. Everybody is fairly knowledgeable over there, and everybody's welcome.
That's funny.
Like I said, you can find me over there pretty easy.
I'm in like 800 Facebook groups. I don't know.
I'm in a ton, and I look at the same like 4 or 5 of them.
I own one Facebook group. It's called Colorado Shrimp Keepers. It actually has like 1,000 members.
Wow. Do you ever post in it?
No. But everybody else does.
Alishan's been in the hobby for 55 years, and I haven't met you yet, and I haven't talked to you much. But from some of the advice and some of the fish you keep, I feel like I can probably trust that you're doing things right after 55 years. So,
yeah.
A pleasure to have you around. And it's a pleasure to meet you. I think tonight's the first night I've ever even seen your screen name pop up. But I don't get in as many streams as I used to anymore. But we are glad you're here.
Hey, does anybody know anybody that works for Fishing Game?
Like wildlife, like GF&P? Yeah, why?
I got a question.
A question?
I gotta ask a question for a friend.
Colorado, what are you trying to collect? What are you trying to collect, Priscilla?
I'm trying to buy something. I don't know if I can.
What are you trying to buy? Let's see it.
Well, so apparently you can keep certain fish that are not illegal to keep if you have a certain license. And I wonder how you can acquire that certain license to keep certain fish.
What's the fish?
That was the snakeheads.
Oh, okay.
They won't allow that. What that is because I looked into it a little bit. I actually talked to one of the guys we had with whenever I was with help running the Cub Scouts. It has to do with like the fishing license, actually. But what you're looking for, that's going to be more on the federal side, I think.
Because I know you can if it's for educational.
Yeah.
Are you educational?
And I'm not a teacher. That's the problem.
No, but if there's loopholes in it, I'm sure.
Yeah,
You're gonna want to start another YouTube channel for it. I'm just saying. Do an educational side for fish.
Yeah, I need to just figure out if there's some way to like work your way around this situation.
Dragon Lair said he knows a guy in Alabama. So if Dragon Lair doesn't know the answer, his neighbor probably does.
I think every state's different though. Honestly.
Yeah, but with snakehead, it's probably just like because it's federal.
There's some federal regulations.
Oh yeah. Like if you get an Asian arowana, oh man.
So I saw the other day. I
What?
was watching a fishing show, I think, and they were catching African arowana.
Oh yeah, the
it has a more rounded face. Like it doesn't have this.
Yes, I seen one of those. Actually, Predatory Fins got one in. So that could be introduced into PA.
Dragon Lair. The last time I posted in that group was December 16th, so it's been a while. But if you guys want to be in an awesome shrimp group on Facebook, it's called Colorado Shrimp Keepers. You can be a member even if you're not from Colorado.
Okay.
Well, we need somebody that's going to do that.
Like, I'm just saying, the Shrimp King is a member there too.
Good times. Good times.
Maybe I shouldn't have told you that.
Sean sounds like he knows a guy, maybe.
Oh, yeah?
Bottom Dwellers talked about trying to find a loophole. Dave said if it could, federal as well as state. Yeah. So it may be one way or the other. You just have to do a lot of research.
I'm obsessed with that dwarf blue snakehead.
John McKenzie asked Tennessee if he was a member of Colorado Shrimp Keepers, and if he wasn't, he is now. I promise.
Yeah.
I'm
not right now, but I will be. Yeah.
Because he's on his phone right now.
We got new blood in the stream, guys. We got some new blood. Vinoxki Tanks and Pridemore's Fish and More. Both coming in at the end here.
They're not new.
Hello.
It's William and Vinovsky.
Right, but they weren't in the stream, Priscilla. We got new blood. It's fresh. Mm-hmm. They haven't been here the whole time. Or at least they haven't been chatting.
Well, they've probably been in somebody else's stream.
Welcome.
They might even have Dr. Black.
Yep. He's probably still going. Sandy Dowdy is back.
Chris Luke.
Or maybe she never left. Maybe she never left.
Sean says new people mean 2 more hours.
No, we're throwing in the towel. 3 hours. If somebody else wants to fire up, I'll jump into somebody else's. But I think 3 hours is more than sufficient for now.
Oh hey, all the chatters, lurkers, and whatever. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Like and subscribe.
I shared it on my community YouTube page. I don't know if that did something or not.
Dragon Lair said his nephew and himself invited Shrimp King to collect Alabama crawfish. Mm-hmm. Plans on another collecting trip next year.
if you tell Chris, I know Chris for a while, and I mean we speak the same language.
Do you really?
Do
you really?
You just have to tell him crawfish, and he'll be there.
Yeah. So, but all right, guys, that's 3 hours. To everybody in the chat, everybody watching, I appreciate you guys all stopping in. It's been a pleasure. I look forward to doing this. We'll plan the same time, same place next week, so 10 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesdays, and and we'll see how that goes. It seems like there's a decent opening in the time block where we're not stepping on anybody's toes. And we had a great group tonight. We had there were some people that chimed in that I got to talk to for the first time. Got to talk to you guys. Obviously the usual hangout crew. But it's been a pleasure. Thanks again, Anthony. I don't know if you want to fire up or somebody else wants to keep going, keep the chat rolling. But I'm gonna shut her down.
I don't care.
Anthony.
I am gonna shut her down.
I could start one up.
All right, head over to Tom's channel. Tom says he's doing it.
Saturday on my stream with this guy.
What guy? What guy?
This guy.
Me.
Mine's usually me and this fella here, Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and start one up. We'll keep it going for a little bit longer. So
All
go
right,
to Skipper's Aquariums if you want.
Head over. I'm going to post it in the chat. Head over. That's the link to Tom's channel. Check out Skipper's. If you haven't subscribed to Skipper, subscribe to him. Everybody in the chat, just toss each other some pineapples. Let's help each other out. And once again, thanks, Priscilla, Tom, Bobby. Love having you guys here. Dragon Lair, Sean. It's been a great 3 hours. Alishan, Greg, Anthony, Dave, John McKenzie, Sandy, Pridemore, everybody else. Crowntail, you asked some awesome questions. You drove a lot of this conversation. Couldn't do this without you. Until next time, have a good night.
All right.
Have a good night.